All right, Twister, a movie that I saw in the theater, didn't like that much, didn't really like for a while that much, and then begrudgingly later in my life, really enjoyed it for what it is. I don't know why it took 25 years.
Can you walk us back and tell us a little bit about 1996 Bill being like,
When I saw every movie.
Yeah, but you didn't like Twister?
I felt like it was foreshadowing this era that I knew was coming, and it made me mad. And I did not want to like where we were heading with summer blockbusters, with special effects, even though the special effects in this turned out to be really cool. It just felt like something was shifting, and I didn't like where we were going. And I think I held this movie unfairly. I watched it twice in the last week. I actually like it more than I've ever liked it in my life. And one of the reasons, Van, special effects, old school. Even though there's some CGI stuff, but it really feels like the actors are in actual danger, which is a sensation I don't get as much anymore when I watch these movies.
Yeah.
Because everything is so carefully done now.
You think about a tornado and the chaotic nature of it. Obviously, it's about the wind and all of that, but it's also about everything else that the tornado throws at you. So you have to believe that at any point, like, something's going to impale you or fall on your head and boom, boom, boom. And that, the movie, the intimacy of like that, the movie gets that right, like very easily it gets that right.
It's funny that you should say that you felt like this was a harbinger of things to come, because I look back on it as like the way things used to be.
Right.
And especially the cast are just normal people. Like, it's just like ordinary people, extraordinary situations. But like, you just look at like Hoffman and all the guys in Helen Hunt's crew, and the way Paxton is dressed and the way people look and what they're concerned about. And it's just like, it's just not superhero shit. It's just like normal person stuff with a couple of scientists. And it's like really, really refreshing to watch a blockbuster about people who look like and are like that.
This is my number one, and this is, I know that you guys here at The Ringer have bought like a lot of Glen Powell stock. You love Glen Powell. Yeah, you guys love
already.
it.
We say Twisters is coming.
Twisters is coming, right? Twisters, this movie, and Twister, the old movie, it shows you the difference in things. Like, I watch movies all the time.
Did you see Twisters?
No, but I'm looking at the trailer.
Okay.
Caught that. Thank you. I watch movies all the time, and the first thing I go when I see the movie is that these motherfuckers look too good. Just all the time. Like, all the time. When you, Bill Paxton, Everyman, Helen Hunt, pretty, but you could see her doing this job.
Attainably pretty.
Attainably pretty,
Yeah.
all of this. And you see it now, and now this same film is a movie star vehicle for the sexiest, hottest guy in Hollywood right now. And it just wasn't that in 1996.
That wasn't what I thought your number one take was going to be.
What was my number one take?
Is this a superhero movie that's not actually a superhero movie? It's all the same beats, right? It's just, in this case, the evil force is the tornadoes, and they're the people fighting the evil force, but they're normal people. But it's basically the same DNA as some superhero movies, right?
I think it's more aesthetically closer to like Jurassic Park. You know what I mean? I think it emphasizes intelligence over physical strength, and it aesthetically, and the Steven Spielberg executive produced it. Amblin is one of the production companies on it, has a kind of like Steven Spielberg, like, oh my God, my eyes are wide with wonder and fear, but wonder at like the thing that's occurring in front of me, rather than I can go in and fix this. I mean, a lot of the situations
but they are trying to fix it, though.
They're trying to be able to detect it early.
Yeah.
They're not, you can't stop.
I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Yeah, I know.
The premise of this movie.
I have even a third take.
Yeah. Off of that take.
That this movie is more erotic than I thought it was back in the day.
I like your description, what you texted us.
What? That this movie is essentially about tornadoes getting people to fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is, right?
That should have been on the poster.
Like, you
these people are gonna fuck.
Like,
parentheses.
These people need help
storms.
fucking.
Yeah.
Here comes 5 tornadoes.
But the reality is that it's kind of all about passion and like disturbance, right? You have two people that, and Jamie Gertz's character sort of, she's representative of
Dr. Melissa Reeves?
Dr. Melissa Reeves.
Reproductive therapist.
Of love and attachment with no passion. These people are in a life and death situation.
Yeah.
They're doing it. Their dander is up. They're super, super into this. And it's what connects them. All of the other stuff in their life that they talk about, the fact that they couldn't get on the same page and this and that is what pulled them apart. What pushes them apart is something primal. It's like an actual force of nature. And throughout the course of the movie,
A good tornado fuck.
yeah, that's what puts them together. They're constantly wet. Their clothes are being borne around. They always got to be on each other.
Yeah.
Like the movie is really, really,
Yeah,
really
he
lot
moves
of
her hair
foreplay.
out of the way
Moves-
to put the
Yeah,
microphone
the whole
around.
Tornado foreplay.
Yeah.
yeah, the whole
Could have
thing.
been a better title than Twister. I wrote down 1996 was the year, going back to my initial point, when we finally figured out the summer blockbuster thing for better and worse. For better and for worse. But you go back to 94, there's nothing in the first 2 weeks of May. True Lies comes out July 15th. The Mask comes out July 29th. Clear and Present Danger comes out August 7th. They haven't figured out the calendar at all. 95, May 12th, Crimson Tide.
Mhm.
Die Hard, Braveheart, Congo comes out later, Batman Forever, Apollo 13th, all before July 4th. And I think that was the year Hollywood was like,
As soon as kids
You know
get out of
what?
school, let's slam it.
mid-May to June up to July 4th, let's fucking go. So then you look at 96, May 10th, Twister, May 21st, Mission Impossible, June 7th, The Rock, June 21st, Eraser, July 2nd, Independence Day.
Yeah.
And that's it. That becomes the calendar. And there's other great movies in there that made money, like The Cable Guy, Striptease, The Time to Kill. But they just looked at that. It's like 6-7 weeks, and that's where the machine went.
Mhm.
And that's where we've been ever since.
Well, Bill, the Cable Guy was a notorious failure.
The Cable
said
Guy made
good
$104 million.
Did it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Every movie I listed made 100. I mean,
I
Twister
saw-
made 495.
Think about this. I saw every single one of those movies in theaters.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was getting the money from. I was getting my dad, shout out to dad. But every single one of those movies, I was in the theater for seeing those movies.
And they wanted people coming back every Friday, Saturday, or Sunday for whatever the new
You would
one
also
was.
go see, because you'd have to wait forever for things to come onto the VHS or DVD market or
Couldn't miss
whatever.
it. Yeah.
You would go see a movie 3 times in a summer, and
Yeah.
movies would be there for a much longer time.
I'm old enough to remember that flipping and being like, wow, they're putting this out second Friday in May?
Mm.
It just wasn't a thing that they used to do. And then they started doing it. This also hits a lot of the checkpoints we always talk about DVD. It's the first DVD ever in 1997. It hits HBO. It hits eventually the pay-per-view, Blu-ray, TNT.
I treated it this time around like basically tried to recreate the circumstances of an old school rewatchable where I just basically had Twister on for 3 days.
Yeah.
And so when I would be like taking a break from work, or my wife and I would be back from the like whatever we were doing for July 4th weekend, I would just turn on Twister wherever it was where I stopped it when I left the house. Great way to watch this movie, because every 15 minutes there's a storm. And it's actually like, I mean, we can get into this, but like, how bad do you just want to be hanging out in the fictional Oklahoma that this movie presents, of like drive-through theaters and Aunt Meg's house and steak and eggs and drinking coffee at midnight because you're so wired from everything else. And it's a really fun movie to hang out in.
And also, you just want to care about something as much as they care about storms.
Oh my God.
They're so into storms. That's why dropping that
That's how
lady
Chris
in
feels
there,
about Summer League.
So I feel about Bronny's knee tenderness.
He's out.
He's not playing.
Low
damn it.
management. Fuck.
God damn it, Joe!
You saying you were watching Twister basically for 3 straight days. Don't do that when we do Apocalypse Now this summer.
I've been
Don't
doing
just
that
have
for 25
Apocalypse
straight
Now on
years.
for 4 straight days. Another thing about this movie, and I think this was kind of held against it because we had so much movie intelligence before movies came out by the time we got to the mid-90s because of all the magazines. But it was basically one of those movies that they created from a clip. It was a proof of concept clip from Industrial Light and Magic, that special effects thing we talked about, where they were like, here's a pickup truck being driving toward a tornado, and then a tractor, the tire comes off and hits the truck. And they were able to do all of that. And they were like, we want to make a movie that's kind of like this. And the studio's like, that sounds great. And then a lot of great people ended up behind it. but it felt like this kind of Frankenstein-ish Hollywood action movie where they're like just pieces of stuff. Let's figure out the story as we go. And ironically, became a beloved movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's having a huge renaissance this summer. I think Twisters is going to crush.
I think it will,
Don't you?
too.
Yeah.
And Twister is on, I think it's on the Max app, but it's just, it just feels very omnipresent right now. So I think we picked the
There are two
perfect
things
week
that
to do it.
happened over the last 5 days that I was like not prepared for was K-Hive coming back and Twister coming back on Twitter. Like everybody is just like, God damn, look at these people having such an incredible time. Like it was just like, wow, you really blanked me on K-Hive.
I don't know what that is.
Kamala?
Oh, wow.
K-Hive.
Yeah.
Don't you remember that?
I mean, I remember it, but you know. Hey, I love the vice president. That's great.
Anyway.
I'm turning into Biden.
I'm do-gooder.
Medicare.
You turn into Biden every time Malik Monk's name comes up.
Medicare. Bill Paxton.
Our best choice.
I knew Bill Paxton initially as Chet in Weird Science.
Yeah.
He became a classic. I like that guy for years.
I'll just make the movie better.
I like that guy.
Absolutely.
He's in One False Move. He's in Trespass.
Trespass.
Where do you guys stand on Trespass?
Love
Hugely
Trespass.
important film. For
Interesting.
me.
Interesting movie.
Trespass.
Not on. I
think that might be
he's
one.
like banned from the
Can
cable
that be on?
networks.
Can you?
Yeah,
can't
but you know
fucking
what?
find
Trespass is
We
off.
couldn't find Pump Up the Volume, and we brought that back. Should we bring
Trespass is
Trespass
probably
back?
on Tubi.
Yeah.
At Tubi, it's probably in the deep recesses of Tubi somewhere. You have to really search for it. Press secret buttons.
You know what the funny thing about Trespass is? When you think about it, it's kind of a high concept movie for the era.
Kind of.
Like
Yeah.
the treasure hunt that happens like
In the projects?
and the treasure is there, and then everybody trying to get to it. It's like Trespass is
Also
good.
pretty early in the rapper to actor crossover
for
era.
Ice Cube, for Ice T.
Ice-T.
What year did Trespass come out?
I think it was 91 or 92.
It was in
somewhere
high
there.
school for me, so it was somewhere in there.
So, but Ice T had already done New Jack City.
Yeah, it was
it's
in
right
that
there in
first
that
era.
That first era.
Would you
Yeah.
respect me if I left The Ringer to start the Trespass vertical at Tubi? Just program the Trespass channel.
They have a cinema speculation vertical that feels like a wink wink to Tarantino,
Yeah.
but not his participation. You notice that?
I did not know that.
They have a
Is it like the
category as
movies from
cinema-
the book?
Yeah, it's a lot of movies
Like
from the
Rolling
book
Thunder and stuff?
and like coffee.
Oh my
That's where I
God.
found coffee.
Yeah.
Man knows.
Yeah.
He's in Indian Summer, Bill Paxton,
I
which was
love
the
that one
big
too.
chill for that generation. Didn't work, but I still kind of like
You
it.
skipped Aliens.
No, that's 80s. I'm talking 90s
Okay.
on, where we think like it's going to happen now with this guy. True Lies.
Yep.
It's like, oh, important role, but not the lead. Tombstone, important role, not the lead. Apollo 13, important role, not the lead.
But crucial.
And then Twister, he finally gets the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, cool. Bill Paxton, you do this. And then he
Mhm.
makes a $500 million movie.
Yeah.
And then that all culminates in Titanic. Tell us more about the necklace. How big was it, Grandma? Like, what are the worst roles that he actually makes likable? It's fine.
It is, but once again, it was such a tragedy when we lost him because like if I saw him in a movie, he was one of those guys. Even if I hadn't seen the movie, if I saw him pop up in a movie, I would give the movie a shot.
Yeah.
Like I would give the movie a shot.
Chris gave Big Love a shot for like 6 years.
Hey, I thought that was going to be his Tony Soprano moment.
It was a little, maybe it was just like the subject matter, it was a little not the right time, but
just never totally landed the plane, Big Love. But it was always interesting.
yeah.
He was good in it.
It was also a time when you were just like watch TV shows and you just be like, I don't know if I love this, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to watch it. So because I'm intrigued, I'll watch it for 6 years.
So I have a theory in this, but why does he not become an A+ lister, Chris Ryan?
I think he's a character actor, and I think sometimes it's hard to make that change over. I mean, like, really only towards and another tragedy of this movie is Phillip Seymour Hoffman. This is a fantastic performance by him, but Paxton probably a little bit more of a traditional action genre cowboy kind of guy, and just never kind of got that role to make the transition over into like whatever more
It should
prestigious
have been
stuff.
Twister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I think it's the same thing for why isn't Sam Neill a big deal? It's because people will think of Twister, they think of the Storms, not Bill Paxton.
that's the thing. So the star of this movie are the tornadoes.
Mm.
The star of Jurassic Park,
The dinosaurs.
dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So the reality is that, like, yeah, that's a movie you can say that you let it and it made a lot of money, but really people came for the spectacle.
So you're saying he's a system quarterback. He's
In this
Brock
sense.
Purdy.
And for this movie.
They don't need Joe Burrow for this.
But it's
They're
like,
we're good with Brock Purdy. We have
it's
so many
more
weapons.
like Gardner Minshew, where you're like, God damn, this is awesome for like when it's happening.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then if you watch, you know, what I mean, I don't know what the come down.
See, I think he might be Brock Purdy. And I think that makes Debo and Brandon Ayuk the tornadoes. And McCaffrey.
McCaffrey's a tornado.
You're just gonna be silent over there.
Helen Hunt as George Kittle. Craig's not.
I like the Purdy comp. I don't want to give him Minshew. That feels disrespectful.
Minshew
No, I'm not
feels
trying to disrespect him. It's
Well, it
more
was
like
disrespectful.
I'm trying to think of like a gunslinger quarterback who gets a shot, and you're like, shit, this could work.
For a little while, Jeff George.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, maybe this is why you don't have the gunslinger have the whole movie. But
Right.
Is he Gino?
Gino. I don't know. I felt like Paxton. I thought he had a good career, but
But can I tell you something else about his career? He's also in a crowded field.
well, so that's what I had for you.
Yeah, he's also
Literally right here. White guy glut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's also in a crowded
Yeah.
field around.
I'm going to
that
read
time.
you all the names.
There's A, B, and C list guys who can
So we
lead
have
movies.
the Affleck, Damon, Leo Wahlberg group, all the young
Those are new
up-and-comers.
guys. Yeah.
at this
We
time,
have-
yeah.
Yeah.
His direct competition, Ed Norton, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, McConaughey. He loses his time to kill
Isn't
two
he
McConaughey.
older than those
So
guys?
But
he's
he's in that mix.
those
I thought
guys.
he was-
McConaughey is like really just popping right now.
But he started late though.
yeah, I know.
He
But
was
what
like
I'm-
one of those boxers
I'm
that
saying,
got
but
out
if
of
we're
jail.
talking
It was
about
like the young 30.
in career situation, I would put McConaughey more with the Ben Afflecks and the Matt.
Well, I'm going to
Damons.
give you
Okay.
Travolta, Cage, Costner, Bruce Willis, Keanu. They're the established older guys. Hanks, Cruz, Ford, Gibson. That's the top.
Yeah.
Sean Penn, Tim Robbins, Kevin Spacey, Alec Baldwin, Richard Gere. They're like in those
Okay.
The
probably
Silver
maybe
Foxes.
a couple years older than Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, Sandler, Myers, Stiller. And then he's in that kind of Kevin Bacon, Bill Pullman.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland, like, can he be the lead of a thing, or is he just going to keep losing out to these bigger guys? But I think he could have been. I think he could have been in a bunch of McConaughey movies. I think he could have been the lead guy in Out of Sight instead of Clooney.
And Out of Sight?
Yeah, with J-Lo.
No
He
way.
could have been.
I think he could have. I don't know if he would have been as good as Clooney, but I think he could have.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing about that. I think Out of Sight is a perfect. That's a perfect example of the movie that he couldn't do, because when you're talking about.
But how do we know?
This is what I would say about Out of Sight. When you talk about Out of Sight, you're talking about a guy who you have to put into the trunk with Jennifer Lopez, who at that time.
And she's like, you look like Robert Redford.
Yeah. Like you have to have a movie star charm and a magnetism in that role that he doesn't have. Like he could probably play the role. He could handle the load dramatically and even charismatically. But when you look at George Clooney in that situation, you go, I see why an ATF
In the
agent
trunk, she
or
fell in love
whatever-
with him.
Yeah, you see why she takes those chances.
The thing is that there's nothing wrong with being the third guy in the cockpit with Tom Hanks. Like he's
Yeah.
a floor-raising supporting actor who did a lot of good work over his career.
Do we think this is a leading man performance in Twister though?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But if it
It's a leading man
I don't know.
performance, but an everyman
Maybe he's like
performance.
a tweener. He was like, he could have led a movie like this, but he was really probably better off being the overqualified third guy in the cockpit.
Apollo
with
13.
Tanks.
But he's also
Which makes him Kevin Bacon.
he's also the kind of guy to me as well. Like if you compare him to like a Bryan Cranston, he's also the kind of guy to me that catches a role that's made for him late in his career.
Yeah, he needed like he could have been like a bad guy on Ozark or
Yeah.
something like that, where it was like it was coming.
Bryan
it was-
Cranston's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe he's in that film. Helen Hunt, who has this run of Kiss of Death, which we'll do at some point.
What a fucking insane movie.
taste of metal in my mouth.
What crazy movie, bro.
You like Kiss of Death?
I do. That's a demented
I love
movie.
that movie. That movie's incredible. Twister, and then she wins an Oscar for As Good as It Gets. Somehow also won 4 Emmys.
for Mad About
And-
You.
Mad About You.
And then she moves into this Dr. T and the Women Pay It Forward. She's in Castaway. What Women Want. And then just never found, like, after As Good as It Gets, never found the perfect part.
She was just on Hacks this season.
Yeah.
To me, one of the most unexpected shot up to the A-list situations that I've ever seen. She's around, she's almost ubiquitous. You see her in all different types of movies, and she's good.
It was like, is she a TV actress or is she a movie actress?
And then all of a sudden, As Good as It Gets comes out, and she's
awesome
in it. She's fantastic in it. She's at the top of the industry, and you just didn't necessarily think it was going to happen for her. You know?
She's got a lot of presence. Just a
it's
lot
like
of
when Jaylen Brown
actors.
become the finals MVP. Sometimes you just don't know, Chris. Like, man.
That's right.
Conference finals and finals MVP, Jaylen Brown.
We thought he was Paxton, but it turns out he's Clooney. Yeah.
You besmirched him on stage last year at the Rewatchables. Yeah, you took some shots at his contract.
You remember that?
I do. I remember the shots.
What about the Jabari Smith Jr. trade? What's your thoughts on that now?
Which one? Jabari Smith, number 3.
Yeah, you went to trade.
That would have been a good trade. If they didn't want to pay him.
What are we fucking doing? What are you talking about? Come on.
I was like, if they weren't going to pay Jaylen Brown, that's a good trade.
You don't get to win the title, but be like, we also retroactively won a trade that we didn't do.
I'm just saying it would have been a good haul if they weren't going to pay him. My vote was to pay him.
Jabari Smith can barely get on the court in the
Jabari
Rockets.
Smith's good.
I like him.
Rest of the cast includes Phillip Seymour Hoffman, you mentioned. Is that Chris Cooper at the top, or is it somebody else? Who is the dad in the beginning who gets sucked
It's not
in?
Chris Cooper.
It's the guy who looks like Chris Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Gertz, Alan Ruck, Jeremy Davies.
My guy Todd Field.
Our guy Todd Field.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So weird.
As far as I know, just 3 for 3 absolute bangers when it comes to acting. Nick in Eyes Wide Shut, Twister, and Sleep With Me. The speech with Tarantino in the kitchen. And now, other than that, I don't know if he's in anything
One
else.
of the strangest careers. And then he's only directed 3 movies that are all like really, really unique, awesome movies. This movie got nominated for 2 Oscars. Best Sound, Best Visual Effects. Did this start Hoffman for you, or did Son of a Woman?
Son of a Woman. Is it Son of a Woman's before this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Son of a Woman. But I didn't really, like, he could have been any kid. He was just really good in Son of a Woman. It's crazy how Dusty from this movie has become like an iconic, like the outfits and stuff. Like people still talk about like his performance in this. And there's a couple of scenes in here I'll talk about later where you're like, this is just a ridiculously good job.
Yeah.
For a nothing part.
What was the role?
Is it more fun if he's just dressed like Scotty J the whole movie, or no? He's wearing like a boy's
Is it better if
t-shirt?
Scotty J is dressed like Dusty?
Tight.
Yeah.
What was the role with him to where you went, oh?
You know what? I'll say.
Like, he's fantastic.
I remember Twister being like, wow, this guy's
really?
like, yeah, no, he was a big deal in
Do you know
Twister.
what it was for me? It was the talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah.
Like the talented Mr.
After
Ripley.
Boogie Nights.
Yeah, like the talented Mr. Ripley, I was like, wow, he's doing something different. Like he's different in every single movie I see him in. Yeah.
He routinely though takes a role that like Mission Impossible 3, which is like he's the bad guy in Mission Impossible 3. And you're like, this could be fine. Like the bad guys in Mission Impossible 2 where he's just kind of like hamming it up, British guys, Scottish guys. He's so fucking good in Mission Impossible 3. He's playing it like he's in The Master. And it clearly is scaring the shit out of Tom Cruise. And it's just like, no matter what the material was, he elevated it.
Yeah.
I think it goes, when I saw him in this, it was like, oh, the Son of a Woman guy. He's good. And then he's in Boogie Nights, like, wow. And then Ripley was the exclamation point.
Yeah.
Then it was like, we have a real actor.
Yeah,
on
this
our
guy
hands.
is working.
Tom A.
Yeah.
How's the peeping? How's the peeping? Directed by Chris's guy, Jan de Bont.
JDB, director of photography on Die Hard, director of Speed.
Stand or get off. Stand or get off.
And a really hard-charging, just efficient director.
Crew hated him.
Yep.
People quit.
Yeah.
Lots, scores of people quit.
Yeah. It was like a full-on revolt.
Yeah.
They quit.
They had to bring in new people mid-film.
Two DPs, like crew was wearing funny shirts about him. Interesting guy.
Knocked over a camera assistant. The crew revolted.
Yeah.
They had to change the crew.
Yeah.
Next guy came in, got hurt. Jack Green got hurt with 2 days to go. The house collapsed on him. He had to go. de Bont had to take over the photography. It's like, it's a whole deep dive.
But, you know, to a whole little era right there, like the Jan de Bont type of filmmaker. Like at a certain point, that's like who people wanted to be. Cool ass DP that comes from doing that and makes these awesome, ridiculously accessible action films. But that
This
also
is one
have,
of my
like, the
favorite
style.
Van takes.
Is like guys just want to be
Van missing
cinematographers?
the auteurs who were the set was like, I fucking hate this guy.
Look,
But it was like, guess what? It's like the guy in The Bear, Joe McHale.
yeah, like
Guess what? We needed those guys.
gets the fucking job done. But like a Jan de Bont, the movie had a certain kinetic energy to it, and people were showing up for that shit at a certain time, man. Like he
It's
was
like when I used to yell at Chris about the triangle at Grantland. It's not good enough, Chris. More basketball.
Yeah, chef.
Yeah, chef. Dubont, he went way over the production schedule to the point they had to delay Mad About You by almost 3 weeks.
It's funny because like you hear about like troubled productions or things that are over budget or over schedule, like a Marvel stuff or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, of course.
And this had all the hallmarks of that. Had Michael Crichton did the first pass of the script.
Yeah.
Steve Zaley and Joss
He
Whedon.
got $2.5 million to
Yeah.
do the script with
All
his
these
wife.
people are writing the script. There are people writing the script still like while this movie
They
shooting.
had Josh
Yeah.
Whedon on it, huh?
Joss
Yeah.
Whedon did it, yeah.
Oh wow.
And it fucking came out. Like when you watch the movie, you think the same cinematographer shot the whole thing. You're never like, damn, they switched it up midway through.
Mhm.
It seems seamless, even though it is so chaotic.
One of the best
Movie
stories
magic.
about all this was how they misjudged Oklahoma City. They thought it was gonna be like darker and stormier, and it just wasn't. So they had to like figure out how to have
They had to go to
darkness.
Iowa, right?
So they did these like giant lamps that burn the retinas of Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton.
They had to
They were
fucking
blind.
They couldn't
had
see.
to
They got
fucking wear-
blinded.
yeah,
And they had to wear like elephant glasses for 3-4 days to get their
to
eyesight
get their
back.
eyesight back.
And
Yeah.
Jan de Bont's like, I'm sorry. When can you start filming again? Sorry about that.
Should we add DeBont to Wayne Jenkins?
Helen Hunt apparently she got concussed. She thinks she got concussed because she got hit in the cornfield. The door hit her when she jumped out.
Well, he fought for her to be in the movie because he said she was capable of the physical stuff, and then he hit her with a door
Right.
and concussed her. He knew she could take it.
And Paxton was saying he was, they're using real shit. Like they're doing the hail, and they have an ice chipper and it's just shooting ice. And DeBont is filming next to him with a helmet on. And he's like, I'm getting hit by the ice too. And Paxton's like, cool. He's just
You got a
getting
fucking
nailed.
helmet on, Jan.
So should we add Jan DeBont to our thing? Would this movie be better if it was directed by Jan DeBont?
No, stand in front of the dinosaur.
Get up.
I don't know why he sounds German.
Yeah. You're German
I'm,
Dutch.
I'm
got-
doing sprockets. Yeah.
Messed up. $90 million budget. Made $495 million, second biggest movie in 1996. Roger Ebert, 2.5 stars.
What, any interesting takeaways from him?
He said, you want loud, dumb, skillful, escapist entertainment? Twister works. You want to think? Think twice about seeing it.
Boy,
It's tornadoes, bro.
Didn't have a ton of plot for Raj.
It's this place being assaulted by tornadoes. You
Yeah.
don't have a lot of time to think.
Come on, Raj.
There's really nothing to
It's a
think
5
about.
tornado day. There
Yeah.
wasn't time to play Scrabble. All right, most rewatchable scene. I like the opening scene.
who doesn't? You get the oh, you mean her dad?
Oh, you mean her trauma? The
Interesting.
trauma scene. Yeah.
Interesting.
I like the whole holding onto the door.
Mhm.
Would
And
you
then
do
gets
that for
pulled
your
out.
family?
Listen, I have a couple notes for Dad. Not to step on picking nits, but that lock just wasn't good enough. Like,
Yeah.
just not good enough.
Yeah.
It's like one little lock
But
that
do
you
you
put on a
take the
doggy
L and
door.
you're like, that was on me, so I'll hold the door myself and save my family? Or are you like, look,
New category. Creating a new category.
Okay.
The Joe's Dad and Twister, I'm sorry, but you kind of deserve to die award.
Wow.
good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Terrible job by that guy.
Yeah.
Lock's bad. Let go of the door. Just let the door go. The door's going anyway. Why are you going to hold in it? Run in with your family and protect them. Joe's dad. And why is she so traumatized? She was traumatized because the guy was fucking terrible at protecting his family.
Bad at
she-
making locks.
Yeah, she's traumatized because she watched her family die. She watched her father die. That's why she's traumatized.
For being a dumbass.
For being a dumb. So you saying she should have told herself that my dad was stupid, so I don't care about his dad. Okay,
exactly.
To be fair,
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I feel like midway through the movie, people start trying to like basically tell her that. Where it's
Mhm.
just like, Jesus Christ, Joe, the storm didn't choose your dad.
Right.
I honestly do feel like as I watch this, because this is a very white movie, and let me tell you, and it is.
You're stepping
that
on
coming later.
The
Oh.
Van Lathan
Oh,
did this movie need more black people award. Is there
we're
a black person in this movie?
one, and it was one too many.
Who was the one?
Oh, there was one.
Oh man,
I saw him.
In Dr. Jonas's group?
Yeah,
Oh.
Dr. Jonas had one.
Yeah.
One, the guy that they probably kidnapped. Like, it's like he's there in case something goes wrong and the cops come.
Oh my God.
We can talk about it later. But this is one of the. I have a whole thought about this movie, its
Yeah.
whiteness, and why it's a perfect white escapist.
Save
movie.
it.
Yeah.
Next scene. Bill tries to get signed papers from Joe,
meets the crew.
and we meet about 12 characters who were fully developed in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a great job of bouncing around. We get to understand what Dorothy is.
And as soon as you
Here's the
see them,
premise.
you know them.
Yes.
Like as soon as you see them, you know them.
There's the loud guy wearing a Baja.
Mhm.
There's the guy who cares about his maps. There's a dude who is apparently ordained minister.
Yep.
Like you just
There's Alan Ruck. You're like, oh, Alan Ruck.
Oh, Alan Ruck.
Cameron.
Phillip Seymour Hoffman's character runs right over to his fiance and takes her by the hand,
Yeah.
and immediately, just that little thing, you know who this guy is to everybody else.
Yeah. Big energy guy.
Big energy, too familiar, gonna be honed in on you, guy, if you tell him that.
And we get some action right away because all of a sudden we're chasing a tornado. They do a lot of good stuff. Next scene is the chasing the tornado, which
There's
not
the
a great plan.
right.
All of a sudden we're driving in a ditch and just running into a bridge, and the tornado's about to get them. But some good stuff, and that's our first good special effect. Is where's my truck?
Mm-hmm.
And then the truck boom.
Boom.
With the second tornado, cows flying. Now they stepped on this with either the trailer or the ad. I can't remember.
It was
I
a-
think they said, I have to call you back. There's cows. We have cows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the theater was pretty exciting. We have a hug as Dr. Melissa watches. What would a Kalika's strategy have been with your ex-wife that you're chasing tornadoes with as she watches from afar, and you're hugging your ex-wife after every tornado?
Well, the movie
Kalika's
was
just
never happened.
right. How many tornadoes is she sticking through? 'Cause
She
no.
sticks through
Dr. Melissa
sending her docu-signs to be
Dr.
Like-
Melissa Reeves lasts for 4 of the 5 tornadoes. Just
We
totally
don't-
fine with this.
We don't
bizarre
make it to the
relationship.
first tornado.
Yeah,
As soon as I go, hey, I'm going tornado chasing. You're going where?
yeah. Do you get the signature yet?
Yeah, you get the signature. Let's go.
No, I didn't get it, but we're gonna go chase this one tornado, and then I'm getting
none of
it.
that's happening.
She's not going.
Like, no, none of that's happening. We're on our way.
Where do you think Dr. Melissa Reeves is based, practice-wise?
Oh, good question.
That's a good
I was
question.
thinking Dallas.
Because she seems
Is he in the
incredibly
Dallas
naive
area?
about tornadoes.
Yeah, Dallas.
But if you grow up in Oklahoma, if you grow up in Tornado Alley, you must know.
well, where was he coming from to go get the signatures?
I can't get the fact that Jamie Gertz was for some time the basically the face of the Atlanta Hawks ownership group,
Yeah,
right?
Mm-hmm.
still
right?
is
Insanely
right?
wealthy. Yeah.
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 So I kept thinking Dr. Melissa Reeves was based in Atlanta.
She's
Oh, interesting.
she's Southern but cosmopolitan. And so
That's why I thought Dallas.
that's why you thought Dallas. But if she was in Dallas, she'd know something about a tornado, though. A little bit. I mean, yeah.
So you're thinking like Gone with the Wind plantation area, kind of like super rich, like South Carolina.
Yeah, I was about
It
to
is
say,
the ultimate white movie, Bill. You just proved that.
Charleston, Columbia.
Charleston.
Yeah, she's from Charleston.
Yeah.
But like a part of Charleston, you don't even know the actual name of the town. It's in Charleston.
Yeah.
It's a huge country club.
Like
there.
one of those
one of the
places-
best golf courses in the
Her
world.
family has a lot of land,
Yeah.
and you ask her where they got it from, and she goes, "It's always been in the family."
Yeah, we've always had it. They're driving through Oklahoma City on the way to Dallas.
Right.
My favorite scene, I'm just telling you, this is my rewatchable, is the kitchen table.
On
starting
Meg's?
with
Mm.
food.
We need
Meg.
sustenance. Yeah.
I think those scenes like that, and that was when I watched this movie for basically a couple days in a row. It's like I was like, man, I really underrated this movie. Like that, they're trying to do a whole bunch of things in that like 5 minutes, and all of it really works. They're
Mhm.
making food. I'm getting hungry looking at the food. There's like steak and eggs and gravy and mashed potatoes. They're also Dr. Jonas is on TV and they're like taking shots at him.
They're telling the
They're
stories
catching
about
up
old
Jamie
Bill.
Gertz on Extreme Bill. Helen Hunt, like you could tell that whole, they're just like laying out a lot, and we get Aunt Meg, who you have to set up because later on they got to go save Aunt Meg. So
Yeah.
I got to like her.
Yeah.
But it's good. That's like, so when Ebert's like that this movie was, not for the thinkers, I don't know. I thought that scene was really good. Is there an F5? What would that be like? The finger of God.
That entire character is there just to say that. Like the whole,
Right.
There's no reason for a preacher to be in a storm chaser group unless it's to be like, it's the finger of God.
It would have been funny if they had a completely overqualified actor just for that one moment.
Yeah,
It
like
was like
Brian
Tom
Cox.
Hanks. Have any of you ever seen an F5? Just one of us.
Her.
Cut to Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Third tornado. That's the hail.
I refer to this as the Van Halen storm. Just get a
Fair.
little fucking open hi-hat Alex Van Halen going.
Yeah. Hell,
Where do you stand on that Van Halen song?
Uh,
It works for the movie, but I wouldn't put it on like my Van Halen playlist.
let's talk about it when we get to
Okay.
Needle Drop, because this is an interesting conversation.
So we get hail, we get shit hitting the car. We get they finally get out and they do the
Christ, Joe, is that what you think?
things go wrong. You can't explain it.
That like when he basically, because you think he basically professes her love to his love to her. He's telling her, "You still have me," and then the whole time,
The fucking
the
walkie-talkie's on.
walkie-talkie. See, that's why I can't get with Ross. Like that's good shit.
Stop living in the past. Look at what you got right in front of you. Dr. Melissa Reeves is like,
Kind of a surprise,
is
too.
there
because
anybody I can blow right now? I'm so mad. Is there a revenge blowjob I can give?
and by the way,
anyone? Preacher?
I have this and probably unanswerable because I know who she fucked to get back at him.
Dusty?
Oh, say, is that who it is?
Yeah, she fucked Dusty.
That night.
She
Dusty, can I have a ride?
Dusty.
Not Jonas?
No, I think it's Dusty.
That's one of my favorite movie tropes, though, is the deep conversation, but there's like a baby monitor on or a walkie-talkie.
It's like,
and the
it's
wrong
like Carmy
person
in the
hears it.
walk-in freezer in season 2,
It's
you know?
good. Always
Right.
works.
You're not supposed to hear it.
Just when we think the movie's slowing down, we get another tornado that destroys the drive-in theater.
This is
The Shining.
This is it.
That's the scene.
this is it.
Great little downtown location.
Mhm.
I think this one's up there in some ways with like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. It's not as iconic, it's not as mind-blowing, but the three of them like looking up, the wind is blowing,
Yeah.
and then the one lightning strike and you can see the tornado behind the screen and it just fucking tears the screen apart. Also, I would just love to go to a drive-in and watch The Shining.
So
And
the people are on
Yeah,
edge.
that sounds amazing.
yeah,
The people are on edge because it's The Shining. It's one of the most frightening movies that's ever been made. But there's something coming behind that's
Yeah.
actually fucking frightening. And it just starts ripping.
awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
I was thinking, what if they did the Scatman Crothers getting axed to death scene instead of Nicholson's just knocking
Yeah.
down the door, but they really could have like gone for it with The Shining.
And it goes on for a long time.
Yeah.
It first comes in, the storm gets worse and worse and worse. Then there are cars. They keep you there for a very long time, throwing shit at you, and you're not sure who's.
But it's all the
die.
buildup for me because it actually, the movie feels like the way it feels like when you know a storm is coming.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
gets really quiet.
Shout out to Bill Paxton's
Yeah, good.
that kind of look
great
he
at that.
has. I don't know. There's some sort of acting trick. CR, should we add a category? I could see CR living in that town. Like when Slapshot, when you just clearly could have lived where
Yeah.
and had the
Let's
cheap
do it.
season
I
tickets
fucking-
in the bar.
I live in West
could you have
Wakita.
lived? Could you have lived with that drive-in theater and that big ice cream shop?
Couldn't you see me fucking sitting
think you
there
would
at
have- you
El
would open a
Camino
bar,
drinking
maybe-
black coffee at 10
Yeah.
p.m.? Yeah.
I think I could have seen
Maybe
you
I
there.
took the English teacher on a date to
Don't
go
be
see
like,
The
"Feed
Shining.
me."
The one guy in town that knows everything about movies is at the drive-in every single night.
Yeah. I tragically
Phoebe, they're
live
showing
in F3.
Apocalypse at the, at the drive-in.
They
The
named the
newspaper.
theater after you after
Yeah.
they reopened.
Wakita lost its treasury of cinematic knowledge when Chris Ryan was blown into the cone of silence.
Pictures of you like at the theater.
He loved Heat, which had not been made yet.
Oh my God.
That's great. It's just find
I'm
me
adding
at
that.
Jimmy Conway's bar, like you
Yeah.
know.
What's the #1 location you definitely could have lived at? I still think you getting Charleston Chiefs season tickets.
Chief
and,
season tickets,
and working at that bar and
the
just
shot
hanging
collar
out.
prison.
Oh, Jesus. That's the best one right there.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
You being one of the guys in there?
me being the movie guy.
Yeah.
Shot collar
Shot
prison.
collar prison.
You guys ever see Escape from Alcatraz? It's a good movie.
Two more. The doctor. I got to put Dr. Melissa dumping Bill. It's a little short.
Pretty
one.
clean as
Thing
breakups go.
is, I'm not that upset.
She realized she don't
Tough
want
one.
to. Look,
She's like, what am I doing with this guy?
so it's actually the best breakup, one of the best breakups in movie history. It's like, it's a really good breakup. But when you think about
well acted too by her.
when you think about everything that she had been through, she realized that he loves tornadoes more than anything.
Yeah.
She got to know a part of him that she didn't like. She couldn't do it. She's out. And everybody's going to be okay.
And he doesn't put up a giant fight either.
No.
Say no. And she says, don't worry about me. I know my way home.
Because Dusty's taking
By the
her
way,
home.
Dusty's giving you a ride.
The guy in the
We're
OU
getting one
hat.
of those beds that you put
Yeah.
quarters into so they moves faster. Two more. Dorothy's flying, which we get Dr. Jonas dies. We get them driving through the house. We get them jumping out into the cornfield, and we get Dorothy flying in the air. And then the final tornado, which I might as well nitpick now. I don't think they survived the final tornado.
The
strap
final tornado-
held
Strapped
to
to
the
the thing,
pipe.
being in the middle of the
I think they're decapitated or drawn and quartered.
Yeah.
I just don't
by the
think
wind
they're-
or by the debris inside the tornado.
I think they were too close. I think they get sucked out and I think they
sometimes
just die.
When I was watching it this time, I was kind of like, maybe the real tornado was Dr. Melissa Reeves, because I feel like a little bit of the dramatic tension of the movie leaves when she leaves.
Mm.
And I kind of enjoyed him kind of going back and forth between, should I be a square weather reporter or should I be a storm chaser? But they have to up the ante after the drive-in.
It's good. I don't mean to be a dick.
The
but
only thing you could
I
do
just
was-
think they're getting sucked into that thing.
The only thing that you could do was put them inside of the tornado and let us see it, which was the whole.
Which, by the way, was fucking cool.
Yeah,
was
so was
cool.
driving
Yeah.
through the house.
So that's why it's worth it. You just
Yeah.
gotta suspend. You gotta suspend.
They go
All
in
right.
the barn, and the barn, I don't know, the people that they're torturing people in the barn and all that stuff. They have to leave.
Yeah. Who
Yeah.
are these people?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for most rewatchable?
driving.
Dan?
Drive-in, close second to me, Joe. Me, Joe. A close second. Because like the movie's kind of built around that.
New category. Decided to do this. I was listening to one of our Rewatchables 1999 pods that I hadn't listened to in a while. We had a category in that one. What was the most 1999 thing about this movie?
Okay.
I just think we should do that.
So what's the most 1999
What's the most
movie?
1996 thing about this movie? I'll give you some options.
Okay.
No internet whatsoever. The Dodge Ram. Dusty not being a massive influencer on Instagram. I feel like Dusty in 2024 he's
Dusty
got
not
at
having
least
a podcast?
5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a podcast and 5 million Instagram followers.
TikTok, yeah.
No Oklahoma City Thunder references at all. Nobody has like the Durant, the Nick Collison jersey, nothing.
It's all OU.
Drive-in theater showing The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
Todd Field as an actor, or Helen Hunt's hair. What was the most 1996 thing about this movie? I'm going with no OKC Thunder references.
I was disappointed that, Dusty's wearing an OU hat, but we don't get any like references to Ryan Minor. No Kelvin Sampson's first season kind of stuff.
Yeah. There should have been one sports fan in the crew.
Yeah.
Because what month of the year is this movie
Summer.
allegedly set in?
Yeah, it's going to
It's
be
summer.
Yeah, it's hot. It's gonna
So
be
somebody
tornado season.
talking about like mini camp and
But it's a
OU.
downtime for OU Sooners sports in general.
Mini camp at OU.
somebody talking about Marcus Dupree.
Marcus
Man, you don't
Dupree.
realize what we had. It's the whole Marcus Dupree combo.
I'm going to go with Helen Hunt's hair. It's very, very era accurate.
It's a tough hairdo.
I'm gonna go with the Dodge Ram.
Okay.
It's a big deal, Chuck.
What's age the best? What do you got, CR? I have a bunch of stuff.
I got the crew. I got Hoffman, Field, Ruck, Jeremy Davies, Joey Slotnick. It's just an awesome group of guys.
It's like when the Celtics would bring in Hauser and Pritchard and Luke Cornett.
Bro, when
All the
you
white guys.
look at it, that's some insane characters in that bitch.
I feel like I'm in hell.
I'm sorry.
They got Oppum.
Yeah.
They got fucking Connor. They got some insane characters in that bitch. It's like this movie's a that guy Hall of Fame.
You know what's
almost.
aged the
It
best
really is.
and the worst is the world right before we were that worried about climate change,
Mhm.
where it was like, God, that's a bad storm.
Yeah.
But not like, and the world's going to end because we're slowly
Right.
heating
That's
it
a
to the
bad
point
storm.
of death. Yeah, but it was just
This
like,
means the
did
world's
you see
gonna
that
end.
fucking storm? Jesus.
Hey, you know when that changed?
Katrina?
El Nino.
Oh.
Remember the whole El Nino craze? And it was like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
I was like, what's a fucking El Nino? And everybody's like, well, there's something that makes the storms worse. I mean, the storms can get worse.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking about it.
What's aged the best? The old school special effects.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
DeBont
It
actually
really feels
said,
like they're whipping trees and ice and license plates and stuff at the actors, like for real.
DeBont said he kind of saw the direction that filmmaking was going on a technological side of like CGI and stuff. And one of the reasons he did Twister was he thought it would be one of his last chances to do practical, I'm throwing a fucking house at this person.
While torturing dozens and dozens
while
of unionized
blinding
crew members
Jones.
and blinding his lead actors. The suck zone.
Yeah.
The suck zone.
Just as a phrase.
There you go.
Suck zone.
Yeah. I've been to that site. What?
God.
You know I was gonna do it.
I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonas, the bad guy twister chaser. He's in it for the money, not the science.
First of all, that character is always going to age perfectly. Timeless guy who has, you look at them, they're wearing fucking headsets.
Yeah.
They got the best fucking cars. They got the best technology.
He's wearing like gray tech fleece.
Gray tech fleece.
A little sarcastic where he's like, oh, by the way, I enjoy the weather reports.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, you motherfucker.
Do you think
Dr.
so? There was
Jonas.
apparently a fair amount of Jonas left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, I had that in What Stage the Worst. I actually wanted more Jonas.
Me too.
The movie feels like it's missing 2 or 3 scenes with him where there was more of a rivalry stuff. They punted on it.
Yeah.
Honestly, to be honest with you,
Honestly, to be honest with us.
but you didn't really need him at all. Like
Or you either needed him more or less.
or less. You
Yeah.
didn't really need him at all because they only show up a couple of times and they don't really pose any threat or any hindrance to our protagonist. They're just kind of around.
Jonas's wingman, who's driving him around, really catches the bad end of the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
Because he gets,
he's
he
just
gets
on the wrong crew.
decapitated by the ladder that goes
He's like,
through
I
the
could be eating Meg's gravy. I'm driving around this fucking asshole.
Like that's
He can't read the tornadoes
Yeah.
at all.
They didn't do enough to me to where Jonas even deserved to die.
Right.
like it's actually kind of tragic. when
They
he
needed
passes
one more
away.
scene. They needed like he had hooked up with Joe a couple times or had tried to hire Dusty
I
away.
mean, he tried
or
to
something.
steal the design, but that's just
You
good
think
trade
Dusty
craft.
is like the Paul George of Joe's
Yeah,
team?
Dusty's like, I wanted 4 years. He only
Joe would
offered
only
3.
go 2.
No trade. What'd you think of Dr. Jonas, Craig?
I like them as like a punching bag for the crew to kind of bond. Like it was, I like the element of getting to see the Paxton crew's expertise. Like, oh, they don't need all the gadgets. Like Paxton being like, oh, it's like the tornado's turning. I think if you don't have Jonas, you don't really appreciate that as much, their expertise. So I do think
the fact that they're feeling that they use their instincts,
Yes,
they're feeling their way
yes.
through it. Yeah.
I remember we talked when we did the Jaws pod, we talked about how in movie that was created the character.
The mayor.
The mayor in Jaws is the character that kind of pushes against our lead person.
He's usually
and
motivated by
downs
money.
them.
Yeah.
There's some sort of bad intentions, and that just became a character that's in every movie. It's like, oh, that guy. All right.
And
I like Carrie Elwes.
And the access to tech and money was always like nefarious, whereas the person that
He's in it for the money, not the science.
That was a big. I mean, that's at What's Age the Best too. That was a good mid '90s theme.
That's
of selling out.
Yeah.
Concept
Jurassic
of
Park
selling
is the
out.
same way.
Yeah.
Joe and Bill are anti-analytics, you know?
That's right. Bill does do a lot of just fucking walking out there. Phil Mickelson just throws a fucking blade of grass up and he's like, the tornado's going to be over there.
He can feel the tornado.
It's like how Brad Stevens was like, I just think Drew Holiday would fit in with these guys.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing, Chris.
This is a sneaky what's age the best? Sneaky, awesome, all in one day movie.
Yeah, it's 24 hours.
It's 24 hours, and it really, I think, benefits from, with the exception of
It's
the
really
Aunt,
2
it's
days
Aunt
because it
Meg.
goes.
He shows up in the morning the day
It's a
before,
24-hour
and it goes
stretch.
through the night. So it's not quite after hours, but it's close. And I think the compression really helps the movie a lot. Like I don't need a lot of time elapsed in this film.
We don't need like them staying in hotels or a campsite.
I would also just say that what's age the best, the Fujita scale. Just very simple. I understand.
Good one. It's like PER.
Richter scale, I still don't really know.
Yeah.
Like where does it start getting really bad with the Richter scale?
It's a
5?
4.55?
I think it's like 7.
I still haven't
No,
figured out if
7,
DEFCON
everyone-
1 is the worst one or
I don't think
DEFCON
DEFCON
5.
1 is the worst one. 7 is
1 is the
you're
worst.
Fucked.
On the Richter
Yeah.
scale?
A 7?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 7's really bad. I don't think 5
7
is
and up is bad.
catastrophic.
No, but I think if you
6
get to
is
like
major
a 5,
trouble.
if you get like anything over 5,
Yeah.
you're probably getting like one that does some significant amount of damage. A 6 is pretty significant. 7 is like terrible.
7's major trouble.
Yeah, but if I just go F4, you're like, shit.
Oh shit! Fuck you.
What's age the best? The sound in this movie is really good,
Mhm.
especially with when we have better TVs and sound systems and stuff. But they did a good job with that. Here's a personal one for me, and it's in the first scene. When the family's in peril and escaping somewhere, but they forget the dog,
Yeah.
always gets my wife.
This is
And
us.
it's like she cares more about the fucking dog than the humans. It's like, you better go back and get the dog. Amityville Horror has the best
The
one of
dad
that.
1000% is just like, I'll get you another dog.
Yeah.
Terrible job by him. Jamie Gertz, Hawks owner. That's age the best.
Hell yeah. She came the fuck up. Good for her.
She's like, if we're getting Dyson Daniels, but only one pick, I need a second first.
She bet on Trey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan Ruck, Connor Roy.
Connor Roy.
Mm-hmm.
What a career for this guy.
Yeah.
Ferris, Speed, Twister,
Yep.
Spin City.
He's giving us something every decade,
Yeah.
man.
Dan, this is for you.
Thank you.
What's age the best?
Mm.
Movie aunts or grandmothers who are always ready in 2 minutes to feed a group of 12.
Yeah. You don't
This
you don't have to ask where she got all the steak from. Maybe she's
They do. She's like, I just slaughtered a bunch of cows for you.
Oh, she says that?
Yeah.
There
She's
you
like,
go.
did you see the cows outside?
It's like in
They're no.
Goodfellas when they show up at 3 a.m. and
She makes
Pesci's mom is just like, let me make you guys some meatballs and pasta.
And the food looks so hearty and nourishing. It's great.
It looks delicious.
Mhm.
Even the nice big fried egg.
Yeah.
The Shining's age the best. Any movie where someone says, you're still in love with them, aren't you?
Yep.
Works.
I have that as fucking your exes.
And then Bill Paxton became a beloved in the Storm Network guy.
Yeah.
In the something called the Spotter Network. They had all these storm chasers and they spelt out his initials when he passed away in 2017 to honor him. They loved him.
And they have a Twister museum in Wakita or somewhere
Yeah.
around here. And he like basically furnished it with like a lot of memorabilia from the movie.
Yeah. The Great Shot Gordo Award. What would you go with, CR?
The tornado reveal at the drive-in, lightning flashes and then tornadoes behind the drive-in screen.
To me, it's the shot of the middle of the F5 when they're hanging from the thing. It's like, that's actually like a majestic shot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm going with Van. Den at Thieves, Benihana Award, scene stealing location. Chris's new place he's going to live, the drive-in theater area of Wakita.
Meg's house is up there though.
Meg's house is nice. The Kid Cudi Pursuit of Happiness Award for Best Needle Drop.
Here's Chris.
Well,
Humans being.
it's humans being, and I get fired up when I hear Van Halen, but this was a cool soundtrack because it was actually like they went out and tried to get people to make songs that were like related to the movie and stuff. So like,
Yeah, Tori Amos.
yeah, and like Goo Goo
Lisa
Dolls.
Loeb. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a soundtrack.
I
I'd
kind
pop
of low
in.
key think
Goo Dolls.
Long Way Down by Goo Goo Dolls is the better song.
Yeah.
The most inexplicable song is just when Dusty's watching the Eric Clapton video for Motherless Child.
Yeah.
Like, why is he doing that?
I don't know.
That's just product placement, I guess.
I'll tell you
But
something. Big opportunity missed here. It's 96. Big opportunity missed here for them not to tap into hip hop. It's Twister, motherfucker. All right. Big opportunity missed here for them not to
wait,
have
with Twista?
could be Twister.
Was he popping around in 96?
So he wasn't quite there yet, but this could have been a chance. You add Twister to some of this shit. Busta Rhymes could have been on this.
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes. I mean, we all know who probably would have got the soundtrack, but we can't talk about it. But like we know who was the most popping that would have had the whole record label.
You mean Diddy?
Yeah.
OJ? You think Dusty and Preacher could have had a Boogie versus Tupac argument?
Yeah, whole thing. Like they missed the opportunity to put some hip hop on there.
The Big Kahuna Burger Award for best use of food and drink is the whole food scene. But if I had to single out an item, the gravy looked really good.
Yeah, you like the gravy.
Meg's
Nice
famous
dark
gravy.
Yeah.
But it just looked like really special gravy. Made me
My
hungry.
my runner-up is Joe ordering 8 to-go coffees at the
at 10 at night.
We're together. When they first put the steak in the thing, the steak looked like it was gonna be shitty, but by the time them steaks came out,
that
well cooked.
She's doing everything in the same
pan-fried
cast
too,
iron.
yeah.
Well cooked.
Butch's Girlfriend Award for weak link of the film. I'll give you 2 options.
Okay.
The actual last like 18 seconds of the movie with like the weird final kiss when the people show up like, hey!
Yeah.
But like nobody hugs. And then it's like, oh shit, we forgot to have these 2 kiss. It just feels weird. I don't know if I'm support Yondaban on that one.
You don't think JDB had the
I
human
don't.
touch?
I don't think he figured out the emotion of the last 30 seconds of the movie.
Me and Kalika are watching it. She's like, "What is this?"
It's
I'm
just
like- I was like,
abruptly
what? She's
ends
like,
with a weird
Oh,
kiss.
so now it's like they're planning a life together, and now they kiss. Like the movie should have ended.
It seemed like
before
every
then.
writer that they hired quit before the last scene.
yeah,
Yeah.
they just kind of gave up.
We're out.
They're like, I gotta go work on Talented Mr. Ripley. So I
They were
gotta
also
bounce.
probably so fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
Just end the fucking shit and let's get to the credits.
Dusty shows up with Jamie Gertz. She's like buttoning her blouse
That's
back
the
up.
end.
That would have been much better.
This is such weird
Oh my
fan
God.
fiction.
Mhm.
But the other weak link that I think is even more glaring than the actual ending is why would Bill and Dr. Melissa Reeves be together? What do those two have in common?
Here's my theory: is
What?
that it,
I don't get them as a couple at all.
I have a theory. I'd sort of wanted to save this, but we could do it now if you
Let's
want to
do
talk
it now.
about the relationship. I was going to do a reverse Z Wantaneo and talk about the days before Twister.
Mm.
I think Bill, the extreme, had a bit of a drinking problem. Like, I think he liked to
Oh.
party. I think he liked to get after it.
Mhm.
These
Oh, like
stories
a
about him
sex and
being
drugs?
naked, throwing Jack Daniels at the storm.
Mhm.
And I think he gets, if not sober, cleans the shit up, moves to Dallas, tries to get a meteorology job.
That's why it didn't work out with Joe.
Maybe like on a computer date, gets set up with Melissa.
Or
And just-
I would have thought he was in therapy with her.
No, I think
Well, she's a
'cause she's a
reproductive
reproductive
therapist.
therapist. So she's only dealing with couples who are trying to
Trying
have
to get
babies
pregnant.
or having babies or whatever.
Good point.
So
Good
he goes,
call.
he has a date with Melissa, and it's a quick engagement. It's like, you seem stable, I'm stable, let's get this going. And it turns out he's got a little bit more to him than that.
Yeah, I mean, I like that because it's obvious why they're together.
Good
They-
sex.
They give each other a feeling. They're tornado fuckers. They can't fuck the tornado,
Joe
so they
and-
fuck each other.
Joe and
Joe and
Bill.
yeah,
But what about Melissa and Bill?
but he was that was him trying to be regular. Everybody knows that girl. Like after you've done all you try to be regular, I'm gonna settle down now. I'm gonna get somebody regular. I'm gonna do that. But you still like strippers. You know what I mean? You still
You still like storm
you
chasers.
still like storm chasers. When he gets around her, he came alive, and that's really what she peeped. She peeped that
His
their
emotion.
relationship.
Yeah.
She could never ever give him what he's gonna get from Joe because they share this passion together. The whole movie. When I say the movie's erotic, think about the scene where they're under the bridge or whatever. They're wet. She's trying to crawl away. He grabs her. He has to hold her.
Yeah.
You know, they just get pushed together by the tornado.
It's cool too because when he shows up with Melissa for the first time, he's got the ill-fitting sports jacket. He kind
Mhm.
of looks like a nerd. He's like, I'm not back. And then as the movie goes on, he gets fucking cooler and cooler.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like the shirt that's rolled up on the sleeves, and he's got his boots and his Wranglers, and he's just like a cool guy.
They desexualized Dr. Melissa Reeves a tiny bit. Like they gave her a bad hairdo.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Gertz is more attractive than she is in this movie, I think intentionally, because I don't think they want her to be like, oh man, Dr. Melissa's a smoke show. They didn't want her to be a smoke show. They wanted her to be this stable, kind of boring doctor.
But that character existed so many times.
Yeah.
Like you see that
They
character.
flip
all the
it in
time.
rom-coms. Usually it's the guy. It's like
Yeah,
Bill
it's
Pullman
Greg
and Sleepless
Kinnear.
in Seattle
Yeah.
and Greg Kinnear and
Yeah.
You Got Mail.
Yeah.
What's age the worst? My number one. Well, actually, I have two really good ones. What do you have, CR?
What's age the worst?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you one. I wanted 11 more seconds from Dr. Jonas's death scene. The thing goes through.
I see his head come off of his fucking body.
Well, like something goes through and takes out our driver, that guy from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But then the car gets sucked up. And then we just kind of see the car and they're watching it and then it crashes. But I kind of wanted Dr. Jonas in the car. Just like 5-6 seconds.
Maybe in the Simmons cut. I'm sure they have.
Simmons cut. It is
kind of terrifying to see from a long distance that truck just fly up in the air like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Having my what's age the worst is probably having a map guy. Probably not a very growth business anymore.
Sure.
Can you look this up? Yeah, here you go. Here's my phone.
The drive-in movie, man. They just closed the Mission Tiki Drive-In in Montclair. The drive-in movie came back during the pandemic, but now it's gone again. It aged pretty poorly.
So Helen Hunt, good athlete. She was in Quarterback Princess. I sent you guys the clip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not happy with her running in this movie. I think it really kind of, if you really watch, it's a little Seagal-ish.
Do you think it's because she was concussed?
If her and Seagal, she's just kind of like,
she couldn't see where
they're
it was
trying to run
going.
the cornfield, and she's just not going fast, and she's not coordinated.
I think there was a lot of obstacles, though.
I don't know. I feel like there's some other actresses that would have dusted that part. You put my girl Sandy Bullock in there.
Do you think she's just dead sprinting?
I think she's just like freaking Cruise in
just way
90 Cruise movies.
Way too attractive for this movie.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, not gonna work.
I didn't like the running. I didn't think. And DeBont, one of the shots he took, he called her clumsy because he blamed Helen Hunt for getting concussed on the set. It's like, well, Helen always was a little clumsy.
I want an NFL coach to do that. Next time, like a slot receiver gets concussed,
you gotta learn how to avoid those. Our guy Jan DeBont missed the explosion of an oil tanker that wasn't caught on film, and they had to do it again for a rumored $500,000.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it's what we used to do.
I missed it.
We used to be like, do it again.
Bring me another
fucking camera wasn't working. Let's do it again.
I'm talking about. We missed it. We didn't get it.
Carrie Elwes was definitely cut back significantly, but those scenes are not online.
Yeah,
I would throw those online.
Yeah.
So there's an early scene where Phillip Seymour Hoffman's sitting on a lawn chair and he lifts his leg up while he's laughing, and you can see his genitals for a split second that they had to edit out of future DVD and VHS releases.
Did you try to freeze frame?
I did not.
Yeah,
I did not. I trusted the story on that. The Beans and Franks got away there for a second.
Does that mean he was going commando, or
I think it might have been going commando.
That's great.
And then
he was showing Joe.
My last one for What's Age the Worst, just Helen Hunt, put a ponytail on during most of this movie. I think that's the move with the hair. I don't know if there was ever a time when that haircut was in, with the bangs in the front, with the kind of long. It's a little Kid Rockish. I don't know. It's not a great haircut. Craig, what do you think of that haircut?
I didn't put a lot of thought into it, to be honest.
Yeah, Craig, what do you think of women's hair?
Yeah,
I just don't like that.
Craig, comment on Helen Hunt's look.
This is definitely
pigtails would have worked. A ponytail.
You have priors. Like you definitely like you zero in.
Don't like the hair.
Okay.
Any other What's Age the Worst?
They do a lot of cutaways to, I think, an unnamed meteorological center where they're like looking at the storms coming together.
And we have no context of where it is.
I also don't need the context. It's very apparent that the storms are bad.
Yeah, we're good. We have storms.
Yeah. And personally, for me, I didn't need the Steven Spielberg shit of like my trauma with my dad. It's a scary enough movie.
That doesn't work like at all. And like I don't understand how some of the trauma gets, played out in these movies.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I think that's another thing that made the movie, different culturally. Because I look at these characters that you guys have, these great Caucasian characters, Batman. Your parents die.
Caucasian character Mount Rushmore. It's Batman and Dr. Joe Harding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of trauma. And then you spend the rest of your life, when you're a billionaire, you spend the rest of your life
chasing your parent trauma. Yeah.
Running around beating up criminals in the middle of the night when you could be out there having sex with models.
Right.
Which I guess he does sometimes.
That might have been what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The Ruffalo Hannah Rubeneck Partridge overacting award. What do you got, CR? Are you going to go there?
No, I actually think, he's got about half a dozen scenes in this movie. Carrie Elways, when he gets confronted about stealing Dorothy,
His accent.
he turns into Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah.
He's like, unrealized idea.
His accent, he just can't do it. That's what I like.
But what the fuck, man?
The accent just goes.
He's like an Inherit the
It's like
Wind
still
all of a
Princess
sudden.
Bride.
Can I be honest with you? It would have made more sense if he just played it English.
Right.
If he'd have just played it English and been the stuffy English guy that came over there and was trying to.
That's a good call. They
But
should,
He's like,
they should give him a
yeah.
mustache. They should give him like a cool evil mustache
Yeah.
too. and
Yeah,
just-
but like when he opened, I had forgot that he was going for the accent. I was like, God damn.
Was there a better title for this movie?
Storm Chasers.
F5. I have a couple of them. Caucus Storm.
I really
like
like
as in
Twister.
Caucasian Storm.
Yeah, White Wind.
Caucus Storm.
Did you have you ever seen? Speaking of white people,
I have Magus.
have you ever seen White Squall?
Yes, I've seen White Squall. I love it. I like that.
It's white excellence right
yeah.
there.
Oh no, another.
White Squall.
These guys are on the boat.
They're on the boat,
They
bro.
fucking figured it out.
Uh-huh.
Can you dig it a word for most memorable quote? Is it just food? Food.
Yeah, I like that.
Or it's coming. It's
I
something
like when
Dusty
when
says.
they're driving into the house and he goes, "We're going in."
Yeah. The CR thinks Luke Wilson could have been Harrison Ford. Hottest take a word.
Joe, good daughter, bad scientist. Don't really think she's got the level head you need to take readings, analyze data. Not sure she's like the best at anything in that group. She
Can't see the tornado, how it shifts.
Yeah, Bill's the
No
fucking
feel
guy
for
with the
anything.
force who can figure out where it is. Map guy, radio guy, Doppler radar guy. She's got a god guy. What does Joe do except put people in danger?
It's
Most of all herself.
She's a hustle player.
Yeah.
It's
She's
just,
Russell Westbrook.
She's a hustle player. It's just the tenacity that she.
No, but she's like
stays
Marcus Smart, where it's like, why are you taking the last shot?
Yeah.
I like that. Bill's kind of the point forward. He's
Right.
a power forward, but can also run the offense.
Yeah, like the whole thing doesn't get going till they add him back onto the team. Till
Yeah,
he comes
right.
off the IR.
Did you have a hot take?
I do. You don't have one, do you?
No.
Speeding up the time for tornado warnings, overrated. I went and I searched this, and guess what? It's still 10 to 15 minutes.
Even now, yeah.
They haven't sped it up since 1996. And guess what else? Sometimes there's no time for warnings. The whole premise of this movie is completely flawed.
The premise of the movie being that they want to
And
Their
develop an
science is
earlier
going to make
warning.
it
Yeah.
so that it'll be longer times.
Because when they get to Wakita,
People
it's
to
just
warn.
like the
Right.
air horn goes off and I didn't have time to get some shelter.
to get to shelter.
But guess what?
Was
They
it-
still have tornadoes that come out of nowhere and just
Was
take
it
out
15
towns.
minutes then though, or have we gotten to the 15?
Well, they were
minutes?
saying back then it was like 3.
Yeah.
But now it's like they've padded a little 10 to 15 minutes, but they still have tornadoes that nobody knew was coming that just come out of nowhere.
My feeling about this is that if I was living in a place that's referred to as Tornado Alley anyway, and presumably you must hear about like, oh, a tornado hit a couple towns away, I would just maybe work from home that day and be in the shelter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to be
Right.
like, we're going to go down to the shelter. We're going to bring some Scrabble.
So you wouldn't fire up the drive-in date that night
That is
after the 2 tornadoes that afternoon. I mean, like, are we still seeing The Shining? I don't know. They're picking my uncle out of some rubble. Starts at 7:30. I should be okay. I'll make it.
There's been 3 of them.
Did you want to be there for previews
We're
or no?
going to the movies though.
Yeah.
Right? Don't tell me we're not going to the movies.
If we're
man.
at the movies, we're going to see the
fine.
tornadoes. We're going to be fine.
I got tickets already.
Yeah.
Casting what ifs. Spielberg initially attached to direct, which I think was the case for every single movie in the 90s.
that then he
And
executive
then it bounced
produced.
around. And then Jan Dubont signed on after leaving Godzilla thanks to creative differences.
With who? Godzilla?
Yeah, maybe. Tom Hanks read for the part of Bill, but passed.
Went
and
further than
suggested
that.
Paxton.
He even got the wardrobe and stuff. Like he was getting ready to do it.
You know what that tells me? That tells me that Paxton wouldn't have had this role
If not for Tom Hanks.
if not for one of the big swinging dicks of the era saying, put this guy in the
Paxton,
movie.
yeah.
It was a Tom Hanks deal that he would have done.
Mira Sorvino, considered to play Dr. Melissa Reeves,
But
did not want to dye her hair.
I love that.
That's it. What we got. Next category.
Oh, there
the
was one more then.
What is it?
Garth Brooks for Jonas.
Did you believe that? I didn't know.
I chose to. Yeah.
Yeah, that felt too weird.
I thought that would have been awesome if Garth Brooks or like Dwight Yoakam, one of those guys was
Like stunt casting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Gaines could have played.
That'd be funny.
The Van Lathan Award. Did this movie need more black people?
Absolutely not. There was one black guy when you see Jonas's crew, he's with them and he's laughing at the other guys. It needed less. The one black guy that was in here was an abomination for him to be around here running after tornadoes with these people. It makes absolutely zero sense. This is the one movie. I'll say something. I'm a big believer in diversity, right? I'm a big believer in diversity,
but not in
all the
Twister.
time.
Not in Twister. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
not in Wakita, Oklahoma.
Yeah, you just want to watch what these white people are going through, and this is a white ass story about some storm chasers. I haven't seen the storm chasers, the black storm chasers yet. They might be out there. I haven't seen them.
Best that guy award. That guy from Mad Men who played the mean comic. He's one of those guys.
Which guy?
What are you talking
This
about?
guy's got he's got the wide eyes. He was in Mad Men. Remember he insulted somebody's heavy wife and they made him apologize?
Patrick Fischler? Is he one of Jonas's guys?
Oh, that guy's been in a lot of shit.
They show him and stuff. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, he's in there.
I had Zach Grenier.
Well, I'll get to him. That guy from ER who was like one of the hospital attendants.
Yeah,
he's
Abraham
in
Ben
Jonas's
Ruby,
crew.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. Joey Slotnick. I think
course.
it's Joey Slotnick. I don't know if it's
Is Joey Slotnick?
He's right on the fringe.
Yeah.
But the answer is Zach Grenier.
Grenier, sorry, not Grenier.
Grenier.
I think Grenier is good.
He was in Philadelphia. He's like, "Hey, bud, what's up? What's on your face?"
I'm sorry, I don't know why I laughed. the way you fucking
Hey,
said
bud,
that.
it's a racquetball.
He got hit
accident.
by a racquetball.
He's a bunch of stuff though. He's in Fight Club. He's just one of those faces. Never knew what that guy's name was.
The Fight
till
Club.
I looked up.
He's beating the shit out of himself. He's behind the desk, right?
Yeah. Dion Waiters Award.
I have Todd Field because Hoffman's got too much screen time. Todd Field when he's like, "That's no moon." This shit is so good.
That is funny. I had Hoffman. He's in too much of it.
He's in too much. Yeah, he's like the number 4 lead.
Mm.
The Golden Retriever I thought was really good. We don't usually have
Is
dogs.
that Meg's dog?
Yeah. What about Meg?
Just people going back into houses for domestic pets. It's just like, come on.
How about
I
Meg?
gotta be honest with you. Tornado comes. I'm going to get Bozeman, man.
Yeah, me too.
Fan, you
There's
can
no
just
way I'm
get
not
another
protecting
dog.
Murph.
Nah, I can't get another Bozeman. He has his own person. He
No.
has his own personality. I'm telling you, he has his own personality. He's got his own thing. I know what he does. We communicate. I can't do it.
You know what Twister is for dogs? July 4th. The
It's
fireworks.
going crazy. Yep.
It's their version of like the Wakita drive-in just getting demolished. So they hear every firework. So what do we have for Dan Waiters then? Todd Field?
I have Todd Field.
You wouldn't put in Jonas? Carrie Eloise as
Jonas could almost be.
He's not that good.
But he
No,
doesn't
he's
really
not.
do anything. I mean, he's in.
Yeah,
he
so
doesn't
I'm
really
not like
do
that was an
anything. Yeah.
incredible performance given what it was.
Yeah, there's not
Todd
really a
Field makes
Dion.
the Repo Man joke and then he makes the Star Wars joke. It's perfect.
Let's give it to him because he's only made 3 movies in 21 years and we liked all of them. We want to make more. Maybe this will inspire him.
Yeah.
Recast
I'm sure
the
this is the thing that's going to push him over the edge.
Recast the couch.
Dion Waiters for Twister.
Director City. So we're good with the leads. Could we get bigger actress for Aunt Meg?
Who was available at
Ellen
the time?
Burstyn?
Ellen Burstyn.
Sally Field? Coming off Forrest Gump?
Sally Field's not going to do that. It's not
Movie
big
made
enough.
$500 million.
Jessica Lange.
Not big enough for Sally.
Needs to be somebody I
There
could
could be
see living in
somebody, it
Oklahoma.
could be younger. It's an aunt. She's a sculptor. She could be a little bit like maybe she spent some time in New York in the 80s. You know, like it could be funky.
Could you could grab
Sarandon.
Sarandon.
Sarandon,
That's a good
maybe.
one.
That works. What about what's her face? Warren Beatty's sister.
Oh, Shirley MacLaine.
Shirley MacLaine.
Warren Beatty's sister is Shirley MacLaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Chris.
I didn't know that.
It's facts.
Deborah Winger? Too young?
Probably too young. Here's the thing though, Aunt can't flirt with sexy. I feel like Sally Field was still flirting with sexy in Forrest Gump.
Yeah, we got to feel like maybe Dusty stopped
You
by
don't
there.
think so?
I mean, she
She's
did
not
have sex
flirting
with
with
the
sexy.
principal.
She's good in Forrest Gump. Yeah.
She still had that
I agree with
thing.
you.
No, never
Go
mind.
for it. Now I want to hear it. I have to hear
This
it.
is
Was Aunt Meg a place where we could diversify?
See, this is the fuck I'm talking about. See, that works. Now, that meal just
The
got
food
way
seems
better.
different.
Darlene Love?
That's
You know what I mean? Like
Darlene, that meal just got way, way better.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's
And then you feel a little bit more attached to Joe because you know Joe got some black people in her family. It's a little bit, that works. See,
We're changing the Tony Romo, Chris Collinsworth director's commentary category.
Okay.
We're now making all sports announcers eligible for this category.
So
and changing it to what sports announcer would you want for this director's commentary for this movie? And by the way, Romo and Collinsworth are still on the table.
You're looking at me like I was prepared for this.
My pick is Doris Burke.
I knew you were going to do it. I was like, I bet he's going to do it. Go ahead.
It's just a phenomenal read of The Tornado by Bill. And as much as I think Dr. Jonas was doing a terrific job in his own right, and I don't want to blame anyone here, but it's clearly a mistake that he didn't listen and got sucked to his awful death.
She would never call him Dr. Jonas. It would be like, Joe's doing a good job too out there.
I don't know. I was working shopping some doors.
I like it.
I think Tony could work too, though.
Yeah.
Oh no, Jim! It's another tornado!
Cows are in the air, Jim.
Fourth one! Half-assed internet research. Meteorology majors in the United States increased by about 10% after this movie.
Interesting.
University of Oklahoma saw its program double. The real town of Wakita was used during filming. They used an older part and they demolished a bunch of houses and bought all the houses.
They
and
bought
them.
it's crazy when you see like what the houses were. They paid it was like $75,000 for 10 houses or some crazy shit like that.
Were we aware of storm chasers in the zeitgeist before this?
We were not. That was one of the reasons we should have mentioned this. And
I really don't know.
Nobody knew anything about this whole world. We just knew from Weatherman.
I'm trying to think. Chris is thinking.
I'm thinking just because was this before or after the phenomenon of weather people standing out in the middle of the shit?
That's been around for a while. I'm talking about like
where guys just
reporting live from
hurricanes hitting the Jersey Shore. I'm going. Yeah.
It's 60-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like
the actual
people
science
getting
of it.
in a goddamn truck chasing after
I
a
don't think
tornado
people
so
knew.
they could study.
No,
I don't remember whether or not we did or not.
So not only did Helen Hunt get blinded, but when they were in that unsanitary ditch in the first tornado chase scene, they both had to get hepatitis shots because it turned out there was a ton of bacteria in that ditch. And then Hunt got hurt and maybe got a concussion. And then Jan called her clumsy. And she said, clumsy? The guy burned my retinas. But if I'm clumsy, I thought I was a good sport. And then they just had a bunch of shit thrown at them and were pretty beaten up by the end of this movie. They released a second DVD. This was the era of the DVDs would come out in like 97 and they were terrible.
And then it'd be
and
like
3-4 years later, they'd be like, hey,
Yeah.
it's another DVD. And
Yeah.
be like, I already have this.
Taylor's version.
They did a Blu-ray, did an HD DVD as well. On May 24th, 1996, a tornado destroyed screen number 3 in Ontario at a drive-in theater that was scheduled to show Twister that night.
Ontario, California.
Ontario, Canada.
Oh,
I didn't know they had.
And they were showing Twister and the actual
how far north
tornado
do
blew it
Twisters
out.
I
go?
was about to say because Ontario's.
I think we had one in
gigantic place.
Philly recently, but it was like light, but it was still bad.
Yeah.
Some Bill Paxton trivia for you. When he was 8 years old, he was in Fort Worth, Texas, and saw John F. Kennedy Jr.'s last speech before he got assassinated.
Damn.
Yeah. Apex Mountain, Bill
Wait,
Paxton.
I had one more
What do you got?
internet research. 2 JDB facts. He was a staunch vegetarian and hated the MX scene.
Wow.
And
It just sounds like he sucked.
huge Tori Amos fan and personally appealed to her to appear on the soundtrack.
I'm telling you, they should bring back guys like that, man.
Yeah, man.
They should bring back guys like that.
Guys who were just vegetarian Tori Amos fans.
Vegetarian Tori
Who
Amos.
like blinding
fucking-
Helen Hunt. Yeah.
That is not somebody I was hanging out with in the 90s.
Mhm.
Apex Mountain, Paxton, I'm going to say yes. Helen Hunt probably winning an Oscar a year later.
Mhm.
Hoffman, no. How about the Dodge Ram? Now called the Ram.
I feel like it's had pretty sustained success. Was Dodge Ram Like a Rock the Bob Seger commercial?
Like a rock.
Or was that
Um,
Chevy?
No, that was Chevy.
That's
Okay.
Chevy. The Dodge Ram. I guess so. Maybe. I don't know. Trying to think.
Probably on its way out with the
Feels like the
Rivian.
F-150 kind of.
F-150 became the truck.
Have you ever
kinda
had a
took it.
pickup truck?
No, but I'm always jealous of the F-150s.
Why?
They just seem like cool cars. I always think when I see them, I've had a couple friends get them in the past. I'm always like, I ask them questions about what do you do with it? How many groceries can you fit in
Would
there?
you make Ben ride in the back?
In a
Yeah,
flatbed?
there's no question.
Yeah.
It seems gigantic and unwieldy, but I've always been interested in it.
It's a good truck.
Tornadoes, Apex Mountain,
Yeah,
Yeah, in the movie for sure.
for sure.
Gravy.
No.
No, fuck no.
What was the Apex Mountain for Gravy?
It's not this, I can tell you that much.
What would it be then?
It's not this.
Jamie Gertz, no. Post David
What's
Rothman.
what's our Apex
Jamie
Mountain?
Gertz's
What's
Zachary Risochet?
Atlanta
didn't
Hawks
think-
ownership.
Lost Boys?
Keeping Trey Young.
Lost Boys. Lost Boys.
No,
probably.
I personally think it's less. It's what was the Downey one when he dies at the end?
Well, if you can't
Less than
remember, it's
zero.
probably not her Apex Mountain. All right.
It's less than zero.
I felt like she was one of the biggest under 25 female actresses
If it's
on the
less than-
rise.
if it's
she
less
was like
than-
neck and neck with Demi Moore in '87.
If it's less than zero, it's the Lost Boys.
Maybe it's the Lost Boys.
I
It's
think it's
somewhere
Lost
in there.
Boys.
It's one of
Yeah.
those two.
Yeah.
Flying Cows, yes. Oklahoma, no. The Shining, no.
Can I
Any
ask
other
you
one?
one?
Yeah.
Is this Apex Mountain for 90s disaster movies? If you consider it a disaster movie?
So this is what I would say.
Does Jurassic
Let
count?
me throw you. I don't think so, but
It depends on because it depends on your definition of a disaster movie because there are a couple in there.
Armageddon.
Okay.
I consider Outbreak a disaster movie.
Okay. This is bigger than Outbreak.
Dante's Peak and
That's-
Deep Impact
Independence Day
and
count?
Independence
That's
Day.
what I was about to say.
I think it's Independence Day.
if you count Independence Day as a disaster movie, I argue that invasion movies are not disaster movies.
Oh, it's a separate class.
I argue that invasion movies, not disaster movies. Disaster movies have to be something
Well, aren't invasion movies alien movies?
basically. So I
But
mean,
you consider
I think Van's
Armageddon a disaster movie, right?
yeah.
So
because it's-
disasters are hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, and
Asteroids.
when you say disaster, I consider
asteroids
it to be
are invasions, though, right?
But- No,
it's
that's not an alien.
But it's a natural occurrence, though.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I consider disaster movies to be natural disaster movies. This went bad. Even sometimes something that's man-made.
But so
it's
do you
something of
consider
our world.
Jurassic Park a disaster movie because the dinosaurs getting out is a disaster?
No, actually, I don't really consider that a disaster movie because it's a contained thing that happens in one place.
Because that's the same rationale I was using. Like Apollo 13 is not a disaster movie just because something goes wrong.
Right. So to me, if you count Independence Day, it's definitely Independence Day. But if you don't, it's between.
I like I like the categories. I think you're right.
If
The other thing you just made me realize is like I don't feel like we're doing a good enough job with disaster movies anymore. 'Cause
No,
we
we're
had
not.
these two different runs, right? The 70s we had this awesome run, Poseidon Adventure and all those movies, Towering Inferno, and then we had in the 90s we had the run, all the movies you just mentioned.
This
But
also
if it-
goes, but this goes back to Van's original point.
San Andreas. I'm
which
still
is
mad
like-
about.
They fucked that stuff up because, no offense to him, The Rock should not be in those movies. Like
No, he's not every man
Adam
enough.
Driver, normal, like some normal
Yeah.
looking dude should be in those movies.
The Rock's never in peril. It's the same
These
reason why they
movies are
didn't
all
want.
really good because they take really good actors and they're like, just be in this blockbuster for us.
there's one
Right.
guy keeping it alive. What's the guy? The guy?
Gerard Butler.
No, him. Roland
He's-
Emmerich. Like he had The Day After Tomorrow. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he did that one. That one wasn't a bad disaster.
Didn't he
movie.
direct Greenland? Didn't he direct the Gerard Butler one where
I think he did.
Gerard Butler keeps disaster movies rocking?
Geostorm and Moon,
Uh-huh.
whatever. There are a couple of them. They could be better, but they don't hit anymore because also every disaster movie now is trying to make some grander statement
About climate change
about
or something
climate
else.
change or something like that. So it's
We don't
different.
need disaster movies anymore because we had the Lakers.
Good.
Wow.
Well done.
Jesus Christ. Look at all this hubris from you.
What do you mean?
Look
Yeah,
at all
they-
this hubris.
They won
from
the
you.
Jabari Smith trade, you know?
Yeah, they won the Jabari Smith trade.
This is going to be hard. Cruz or Hanks?
It's Hanks.
It's
He was
Hanks.
almost in
He was
it.
almost in the movie. Cruz is too good
That's
looking.
not
for
the
this.
answer.
Yeah, but Hanks,
Cruz is too good looking.
it's
for
not
this.
too hard. This is a perfect Hanks movie.
and yet it's an amazing Tom Cruise movie. This is an amazing Tom Cruise movie.
He could run.
Him running through the cornfield with Helen Hunt. Him having some weird relationship.
Do you think he would allow Joe, like, do you think Tom Cruise being in this movie would allow the other character to be the person who has to overcome their grief? Like, is he benevolent
You're right,
enough?
it's Hanks. I just wanted to talk out Cruise.
I'll tell you, if you put Cruise in it, number one, the women are different. The two women are different. It's fucking Kelly Lynch. Like,
right.
I mean, the
Elizabeth Shue is Dr. Melissa Reeves.
Yeah. It's,
what do you think, Craig?
It's Hanks, but then I when I imagine a scene of Cruise outrunning a tornado in a scene, I'm like, man.
It's the movie Cruise never made in the 90s that he should have made. He should have made one movie like this where it's and then he eventually does it in War of the Worlds, 7-8 years later. But
it's more grounded with Hanks. It's more ridiculous.
He's doing, at this point, he's doing like Far and Away, and he's doing Interview with the Vampire and Jerry Maguire and Eyes Wide Shut. But he needed like one of these in here.
I thought about something while I was thinking about the Cruise versus Hanks thing. What if you throw in Denzel? How is this movie different?
Cruise or Hanks or Denzel?
No, I'm just saying, not all the time, just in this movie. What if Denzel is the lead in this movie? What happens? How different?
He's too cool. I'm never scared of him losing to the tornado. Because it's the same like in Jaws. Charlton Heston wanted to be Brody.
But it just doesn't work.
Like,
and Spielberg's like, you're too cool. Like, nobody's going to think you're going to lose to the shark. You're Charlton Heston. And I feel that way about Denzel sometimes. Like, he's almost like he's too cool to be in movies like this.
The only reason why I said that, I thought about it when I was looking back on it in the 90s. He never tried one like this. Maybe Unstoppable.
I mean, Crimson Tide.
He did the Tony Scott once, I guess, is the closest.
Yeah.
Unstoppable is probably the closest.
Unstoppable.
Right? He's a little older at that point. Racehorse, rock band, wrestler, or fantasy team name. I'll give you the Suck Zone, Storm Chasers, or Welcome to Wakita.
Welcome to Wakita is a good horse name.
Pretty good, right? All right, pick a nits. Dorothy. Kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like a dumb device. It could just get knocked over and spill all the stuff that you painstakingly made.
Is it also that hard to just, you only had 4 of them? Like, can't you have like 100 of those
in a warehouse? Does it have a remote control that the thing stays locked until you open it and then the things fly out?
Yeah.
It just falls, it tips over and that's it?
Also, so they built wings for the sensors, basically? With
in,
the Coke,
in
with
like
the Pepsi
6 hours.
bottles?
That's why they had all the coffee.
Yeah, she had a spark of genius.
This was my wife's biggest nitpick because I made her watch this with me. They never, ever really get hit by a tornado debris, which is why pretty much everyone dies in tornadoes because there's just debris everywhere. And these two go to 5 different tornadoes that they're in. And it's just like, whoa, another speedboat flew
Only
by.
Preacher really gets scraped up.
Right.
That's it. Everybody else is scotch-free. Scot-free.
Why'd they get divorced?
Well, they talked a little bit about it.
Not enough. I still don't really have an answer.
But I mean, they were on different paths. He needed more from her, and she couldn't give.
Oh, because he was never going to be enough. Not while the F5 was out there.
Remember, he said to her, like, I'm right in front of you.
Is that a real reason somebody gets divorced?
I'm telling you, the extreme used to get after it.
Yeah.
And he knew he needed to walk away from it.
I feel like there's a half a scene missing where it's like the extreme did the Fredo on 2 cocktail waitresses.
What?
It's like the extreme was feeling it
You think the extreme
he
got canceled by the Storm Chaser community?
He Fredo to some bar in Wakita. That was that.
It would be great if they went into like one bar and the bartender was like, "Not you! Get the fuck out! I
lost half my waitstaff.
We told you a long time ago you weren't welcome here anymore.
That was an antique jukebox."
Oh my God.
I just want to point out they have 5 hurricanes in a 24-hour span.
5 tornadoes.
I feel like 5 tornadoes. I feel like that would be
notable,
like a legendary catastrophic day in America.
As we've mentioned,
the 5 tornado Oklahoma day.
Something like that has to happen.
It would not have been the night for an outdoor movie.
No, the drive-in shut down that night, and the 2 people that are working in the little Sunday cheeseburger place probably calling in sick.
Yeah.
Can't you just like have a bunch of Dorothys and just have them sitting in the town every day? Like, why do you need to like wait for a tornado, then go set the door?
Just make like 20 doors.
I think they're
like 20
expensive to make. I mean, like, I think the implication is like they're running out of, like, there's only so much more money, so they need to show results.
So, total tornadoes on the biggest tornado day.
Yeah.
In Texas, at one day, there were 66 tornadoes in Texas in one day.
Well, Texas is huge, though.
In Oklahoma, the record is 58.
In one day?
Yeah. In Iowa, the record is 70.
Jesus.
What are they counting as a tornado?
Actually,
though?
that's Kansas. And Iowa is 34. I don't know. That's a tornado.
But like, can it be like that's a tornado, but it was like a bad dust storm and it counts? Like,
Maybe.
What's an F1?
What's an F1 tornado?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they would judge it by wind speed or size. I'm not sure.
For as much as the only other nitpick I have is for as much as I enjoy this scene, it's so popping on that day. There's no way Joe actually lets them take however long it takes for Meg to make everybody's steak and eggs. She showers and blows dries her hair.
Yeah.
Bill showers. They're hanging out, drinking homemade lemonade, and then they get caught flat-footed when another tornado pops up.
It's a good call. Sequel, prequel, Prestige TV, all black cast are untouchable. Well, they're making the sequel. Twisters.
The prequel would be Jonas, Jill, and Bill at the lab that they all came up working at.
Mm-hmm.
No, the prequel is called The Extreme.
Like Twister,
The Extreme.
Twister, The Extreme.
It's just Bill going sideways. It's like leaving Las Vegas with tornadoes in Oklahoma.
If you're casting the prequel younger in, let's say, 99 or 2000, if you're casting the prequel younger, who do you cast as Bill? Who's the young Bill in 2000?
Affleck.
He's too old at that point.
Is he? How young?
Because the
he's like
Extreme at this point
25.
is like 42.
It's like Heath Ledger. You're getting seriously.
Yeah.
It's somebody who's like probably like 24 in 1999, right?
So Heath Ledger
going backwards to be younger Bill Paxton.
Yeah, when the first
Toby Maguire.
There's another sequel
Maguire
idea that I
works.
think they left on the table.
Yeah,
which is Dr. Melissa Reeves' life after Twister.
Oh, that's the HBO
and
show.
The show
now it's like hardcore.
The show
sex
is
advice.
called After the Storm.
Well, I mean, she's totally changed.
Yeah,
she has a radio call-in show,
but it's like Bill Paxton.
They made that show. It's Tell Me You Love Me.
Yeah,
she's the sex therapist who gets it on with the clients.
And Bill pops in.
Yeah,
they pop in as a couple. They're married. Her trauma.
She's running the Bunny Ranch. She's doing a whole bunch of different shows on HBO. Yeah, she just dips into her sexuality at that point.
She's not where I was going with it, but yeah, let's do it.
She got completely dumped by the tornado guy. He went back to his ex-wife.
How long does her fling with Dusty last?
Oh, that's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not about
Dusty
love.
hits it twice.
It's not about sex, Chris.
Yeah.
Dusty hits
Dusty's
about
like, I'm not even wearing underwear.
Yeah, if Dusty hits it twice, he's out. You know what I mean?
Is this movie better with Wayne Jenkins, Danny Trejo, Sam Jackson, JT Walsh, Byron Mayo, Harley Mays, Eva Laffer, Ramon Raymond, Philip Baker Hall, or Jan Dubat?
I'm adding somebody to the category.
Who is it?
Bill Paxton from Aliens. Hudson.
Oh.
Cows! That's just fucking great, man! Game over! What the fuck are we gonna do now?
I like that. That's a good idea for a category.
Yeah.
Somebody playing a character from
A different
their past
character
who's
from their
actually
own
in the movie.
repertoire. If Paxton just does Hudson, it's fucking rules.
Just one Oscar, who gets it? Special effects?
Yeah, the VFX. Yeah.
Probably unanswerable questions. I've been waiting for an hour and a half to ask you guys this. So Bill doesn't show up that day for the signature. Who's driving Joe? Who is the backup driver in this crew? Is it Todd Field?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be in the lead car, right?
It's not Dusty. He's too.
Dusty's got his
Dusty's
own
too-
car. He's got his own. He's got everything the way he likes it. in that
There's
car.
some other driver though, right? So somebody kind of lost
Maybe
their
the
spot
preacher?
on the greatest tornado day ever.
I have a different
Some bitterness in the team.
Yeah, I have a different one. If Bill Paxton's character doesn't show up, does Joe die?
Oh, like does she get killed that
Like
day?
this is it.
Because
He's not there for
Well, no,
the biggest
because like
twister
they
day
lose
ever.
the truck the first time.
but she keeps trying to go back into different
Yeah,
tornadoes.
she's dead. She dies.
She and
Good call.
Yeah.
does her trauma make her do, because she keeps trying to go back. He saves her life and actually puts her on the right road.
Yeah.
Like, does she die? Is this her last day on Earth if he's not there?
I think yes.
Okay. That's a great question. Do you think when they're talking about Jonas, it's like Jonas is in it for the money, not the science?
Yeah.
What kind of money were we talking about? Like,
how much could be?
But like, what?
How much could be in storm chasing?
Like a $48,000 grant?
Yeah, like what are we talking about? Like, is there like an evil company funding Jonas?
Dr. Evil?
Yeah, like
well, think about it.
To harness the power of tornadoes.
What is the profit upside of Dr. Jonas's business?
There's no social media.
Yeah.
Does he have a TV show? Like, how is he turning a profit? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, what is he doing that's making?
Do you think
money?
it's like a private company would have the tech for early detection of tornadoes, and then they would charge the government for that, whereas like Joe and Bill would just
like a
give
double
it
dip.
straight?
Well, he's trying to prove his shit so that he can sell it.
This is why we needed more scenes with Jonas.
Yeah.
We need him being like, yo, Bill.
Yeah, the economics for this are really interesting.
Talking to this guy.
That's the scene.
Guy Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
He's starting Amazon. He also cares about the weather.
The scene is him trying to get corrupt Bill to the dark side of storm chasing with the bread, and Bill says no.
Yeah.
And Bill says, the last time I was at this bar, I had 2 waitresses at the same time. You ever seen The Godfather? I Fredoed this place. Then I threw up on myself.
Fredo.
Extreme.
Oh man! I wonder if people are going to be disappointed because like we're way more interested in this like fake version of Twister than actually addressing Twister.
Joe's got a black on.
That's right. Felicia Rashad, Joe's black on.
Yeah. Straight off Cosby. Oh my God.
I have 2 more unanswerables. Is this movie better if one of the inner circle dies?
No.
Do the stakes change at all?
I don't think
My
so.
answer is no, but I wanted to talk it out.
If Preacher died, I think it would have been like the level of character you'd be comfortable dying.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it's the kind of movie you just like want all the time if it has a bunch of deaths in it.
Like Preacher just gets decapitated by that thing.
Yeah.
It's a different movie at that point. Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
The tornadoes are dangerous in the movie, but almost as a distraction. I mean, they're dangerous.
To the rom-com that is actually happening.
Right. What's his face dies, and that kind of sets the stakes that you could die doing it.
What is the single scariest disaster of all the possible movie disasters for you personally?
Oh, wow. Good question.
Earthquake, tornado, hurricane. For me, it's tsunami.
I don't understand tsunamis.
Tsunamis just sound.
Is it just like a big ass wave? Like what is
that's it? Like tsunami happens and that's basically it.
It's an earthquake underwater.
I know it's an earthquake underwater.
But you don't know all of a sudden this wave and then just there's water. And
I really don't like earthquakes. Like when we've been here for bad ones, I really don't like the rolling. And then I get like a little freaked out about how LA is like, it's a desert on one side and an ocean on the other side, and you're kind of stuck here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Earthquakes for you.
Earthquakes.
It's the tornado for me because the tornado is so unpredictable and violent.
It
just shifts and it just whips and you have to make a split decision. I guess with an earthquake you do too. You have to make a split decision about what you're going to do.
I feel like with the tornado, at least I can get in my car and drive as fast as possible and maybe try to escape it.
That'd be the last thing you do, but yeah.
That's what you don't want to do that?
No, like I just think I could just see you being like, tornado, I'm getting in the car.
Right? I'm going this way. What is it for you, Craig?
Earthquake. I think you have some sense of agency in a tornado. You at least, like Bill said, you at least think you could escape.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy when the ground is rolling in an earthquake. I really don't like that.
Yeah. And nobody's ever come up with the right people when they talk about earthquakes.
Oh, stand on a door frame.
Get under the doorway. It's like, that's fucking not, there's no place to go that you feel good in an earthquake. Fun topic. Best double feature choice. It's got to be Speed, right? Just the Jan Dubont double feature.
You could do JDB.
Right in
you could do. I had Independence Day just because same summer.
Disaster.
Yeah, Deep Impact. Okay. I don't know. This movie is Deep Impact coded to me. I like Deep Impact.
The Indian Red Zawantne Award for what happened the next day. just don't think Bill and Joe last.
No, the extreme, he becomes Rob Marciano like way before he, you know, like he just starts to be like the hot guy who's like in
And
storms.
who is Joe now that she's seen the F5? What happens to her? What do her next couple years look like?
I mean, to be honest with you, she's been chasing her trauma for so long. She got to it. Now she's kind of fucked.
Yeah, now it happens.
I do think that something happens. I think they get pregnant. I think there's just so much fucking for the next 5 to 6 days. I think they get pregnant, and then after the baby's born for a little while, they probably get a divorce. But there's definitely a kid, and really that's what Twisters should have been.
Is their kids?
It should have been their kid, who is now chasing the storm.
I don't even know. Is it not that?
I don't think so.
I always thought Glenn Powell was their kid.
Is he their kid?
I think there's some sort of connection.
Oh, could be. Because there's a different kind of Dorothy in this one, except this Dorothy can destroy the Twister.
What piece of memorabilia would you want from this movie?
Phillip Seymour Hoffman's Oklahoma Sooners hat.
Oh,
that's a good one.
We ruled out cars for this category, but the Dodge Ram that they used would be a good one to have.
It's like the 4th time you've mentioned the Dodge Ram.
You really fucking with it. Bill, why don't you get your truck, bro? You
Get
want
a truck, Bill.
Bill, get a truck, bro.
I like the F-150 more than the Dodge Ram.
Okay.
Bill, if you're
Guys,
not,
don't do this to me. I'm going to be Googling this shit tonight,
Bill,
trying to figure out where I would park it.
Get the truck. You get the truck, man. You on the weekend, you out your truck. Van, come drive in my truck with me.
The Coach Finstock Award, Best Life Lesson. Stop living in the past and look what you got right in front of you.
That's right.
Yep.
Here we are.
Who won the movie?
The Tornadoes.
It wasn't Jan Dubont.
It was the Tornadoes.
The Tornadoes did.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why, are you going to say Paxton?
I think the whole movie, I would say that the whole movie changed the tornado situation forever.
And why not Jan Dubont? Just because he pushed a couple buttons? I mean, he made some really great movies in the 90s.
He was good.
You know what's interesting? I think you're right. It's the Tornadoes. But as the years pass, Hoffman's performance is the most fascinating because he turned out to be one of the
also
greatest
just,
actors of the last 40
great
years.
choices with like the fucking Baja, the Sooners hat, the crazy outfits
His
he's wearing.
energy in all the scenes where he's just like, my part, they gave me nothing except my name's Dusty and I'm a little crazy.
We skipped the Rich
just
Dalton
going
Award.
for it.
I was going to say the 2 moments that are the fucking best moments are him when he realizes the storm is going for Meg's town.
Yeah.
And he has to tell Joe. And then when Joe is in the ambulance with Meg and Hoffman's like, I hate to tell you this, but an F5 is about to fucking hit. Like it's somewhere else. We got to go. It's like, it's just expository dialogue, but done really well.
Craig, what are your thoughts?
You know, I'd never seen it.
What?
Never saw it.
Yeah. I don't, or if I did, I don't remember seeing it. Maybe I think I might be just moving into a different stage in my life, but like and maybe I just have like 90s nostalgia glasses on, but this is like everything I want in a movie.
Yeah.
So tight, under 2 hours, simple, kind of basically just one storyline. You buy the emotion, they set it up quick.
The ice cold beer of movies.
Yeah, it's the perfect blend of CGI and practical effects this era, late 90s, early 2000s. And also, so I watched this movie on a plane, and we need to make a list of movies that are enhanced by turbulence.
Interesting.
Oh.
I was like a little bumpy on the way to Wyoming, and I was like, this is making this movie go from a 9 to a 10 for me.
Wow.
You know, the F5's hitting, I'm rattling a little bit.
Were you just
your
watching
heart
on the
rate's-
back of the seat
What?
screen, or did you have like an iPad? Or
On an iPad.
Okay.
And I'm rattling. The heart rate's a little elevated in a plane just naturally. There's certain movies that just hit a little harder on the plane.
I feel like all the Fast and Furious movies are like that. They're better on planes.
They are.
They're
Craig, I got to tell you something, bro. We used to just have fun at the movies, man. That was it.
Yeah, now
it was
Craig
just,
needs a plane to feel something when he watches a movie.
Did you think,
turbulence.
did Hoffman leap out to you as like being awesome in this movie?
No. I'm going to, I was debating saying this, but since you just asked.
Do it. I thought
Hoffman.
we were going to do this for the overacting word because he does dial it up twice.
The extreme!
I haven't seen every Hoffman movie, obviously, but Magnolia, Boogie Nights, Ripley, Along Came Polly, Twister. I personally don't have a huge relationship to Hoffman. I kind of feel like he's the same guy when he's playing the supporting character in all these movies.
But that's what character actors kind of do a little bit.
If Sean was here,
I was just about to say, somebody go get Sean.
This really is like the hottest fucking take is I've ever heard.
Oh my God.
Look, I've seen like The Master. He's incredible in that. But every supporting role, Hoffman, he's kind of just like this like goofy, weird, energetic. He's kind of like, to me, he's just the same guy in different clothes.
So you think, just real quick, you think Phillip Seymour Hoffman is the same actor in Boogie Nights that he is in The Talented Mr. Ripley?
I wouldn't throw in Ripley in that, but I could see the Boogie Nights, Twister,
that connection is right there.
He's just always like the weird, goofy loner guy who's like in the group, but no one's actually his friend. And he's always that guy as a supporting character in every movie. He's like the weird guy of the group.
He's so lucky this is buried so late in the pod. They'll never let him back on Letterboxd. Did you pick up from the movie at all what we got obsessed with about like Bill drinking and being like a party animal and getting Fredoing?
Extreme.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know if I went as far as to think of the Fredo stuff, but yeah, I wanted to ask about Paxton and how famous he and Hunt were when this movie came out. Were they a draw or was it like tornadoes?
No,
I just think it's like a time.
It was the game manager thing.
But it's also like coming off of Jurassic Park, where it was like Sam Neill and Laura Dern were like well known but not famous. People were not going to see Sam Neill.
Smart way to do it, because then the other thing we should have mentioned at the top, part of the marketing of the movie
was the
is
thing
about
and
how
not
these
the actors.
two haven't had a big chance like this yet, and then it's like the Bill
Twister
Paxton
poster
feature.
is the Twister.
Yeah.
But I mean, a couple of years later, and I don't know, actually the next year, Titanic comes out, and that's a huge movie about the boat. And those two people, Leonardo DiCaprio was a known actor, but those two people are not like A-list stars at the time.
But what I like about
became
Twister,
the playbook for it. And Star Wars did it too with Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman.
But what I like about Twister, I mean, Titanic's obviously great too, but Leo's a heartthrob in Titanic. I don't feel like they make Bill Paxton a heartthrob in this movie.
Yeah.
They don't go too much into that.
He's the steady hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why he's kind of the Brock Purdy, because he's the steady hand, the guy that's not going to make the mistake and is going to get you to the end.
Or the Gardner Minshew. Yeah.
What you don't want to do is you overpay like the Eagles with Jalen Hurts, where you're paying somebody $50 million to be the lead on the poster, but you really could have paid 20. You know what I mean?
Stuff. He'll figure it out.
I'm not gonna
Chris, you got Paul George. Why are you so salty?
Yeah, we talked about it earlier.
The Big Three is back.
Yeah. Philly sports is looking up. The Phillies,
you got another Philly sports pod?
The Phillies look good.
Yeah, the Phillies do look good. Half the team's hurt. But
you got Caleb Barton, stole him from the Heat?
Yeah, look, it's happening.
No?
No, I'm just waiting for...
I'm just trying to cheer you up.
Yeah, I don't need cheering up. Just saw Twister with my guys. Thought we were friends.
This podcast was produced by Craig Horlbeck. That was Twister. You can watch this on the Ringer Movies YouTube channel as well. Thursday, Rewatchables, $19.99. What do we have? For Love of the Game? Yeah, that's Thursday from the, we taped it in 2019.
Kevin Costner.
I have a lot of Kelly Preston thoughts on that podcast.
Did you see Horizon?
Not a performance.
Did you go back to make sure they're ripe for mass consumption?
I think they were, because 2018 wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's a baseball movie that also has this rom-com trapped in it, and the baseball movie is a million times more interesting than the rom-com part. Anyway, good to see you guys.
See you.
Nice to see you, Bill.